Welcome to the Jeff Canada Show. But if you're going to get your feelings hurt, you might need to turn this shit off.
I'm here with Orion. Orion.
What's up, buddy?
One of the coolest fucking cats I know, dude.
Thanks, man.
Like, I really mean that. I don't remember when we first met. Do you remember when we first met?
Man, I'd have to think long and hard
about it. I feel like
you've
just always been part of me. You know what I mean?
I definitely feel it.
And it hasn't been that long, like just a few years, right? A couple years?
Yeah, probably like 3 years, yeah, man.
Yeah, probably
3 or 4 years.
2020.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yep.
Maybe a little bit before that.
Yeah, I think probably about year and a half before Stephen passed, probably, right around there.
Yeah.
I think I met you with him. I think that's how it happened.
Yeah.
I'm remembering correctly. I don't remember where, but
I don't either.
It was in the middle of all the mischief.
I remember seeing your name around, and everything on all the things was said Orion.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who the fuck is this Orion guy? Like, who the fuck has the balls to call himself Orion twice? And then I met you, and I'm like, oh,
This motherfucker.
that's Orion. And since, I don't know, man, I thought we hit it off from the very get-go. And I mean, especially over like the last year or 2 years, man, you've been like a brother. So that's the way I look at it. That's the way I view at it.
It's same coming back the other way, man.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you saying that, by the way.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I love you. So Orion is the whole reason why Jody Bartula recorded Fiddle on Back to Texas, is because one night Orion was like, he sends me a text. He's like, guess where the fuck I'm at right now? And I was like, what? He goes, I'm hanging out with Jody Bartula, which, if you don't know, Jody Bartula is Cody Johnson's fiddle player. And I'm like, oh, that's fucking badass. He's like, yeah, we're hanging out in his studio or something. And I was like, well, fuck, ask him if he'll track Back to Texas.
I think actually what we were doing was we were tracking some of the 2 songs that I got that we're going to be releasing.
But y'all were in the studio.
Yeah, we were at his house, like the studio that he has set up
Yeah.
in his house. Yeah, man.
And I was like, ask him if he'll do the track on Back to Texas. And he's like, I'll ask him. And then next thing you know, he's like, send me the file. And did y'all do it that night? I think it was, yeah. And so I was like, how much is he going to cost? And he told me what it was. It wasn't a lot. Like $100 maybe.
I can't remember. Yeah, like $100, $200.
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, about standard for. And so I was like, fuck it. And I sent him the file. And then like 30 minutes later, I get the file back. And I had to move some stuff around because I can tell that y'all were probably under the influence at the time.
Well, I mean, it's artistic. What do you call it? Artistic. Interpretation.
So I kind of moved some
license,
stuff,
I guess.
Moved a little bit of stuff around. But Wes Barlow had also tracked a fiddle part on there, and so I think I molded between the two.
Oh, that's cool.
And kept I think. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. I don't know. Is that something I'm supposed to put in the notes or something? I don't know how that works.
I don't exactly know either. I mean, you probably
guys?
have to ask the guys to have it make. I mean, I'm sure Barlow would love to be mentioned in something if he's part of anything.
I need to find out if that's the case. I have to go back.
Another great guy, by the way.
Oh, Wes Barlow. If you don't know who Wes Barlow is, man, check him out. He moved to Colorado, and I got to hang out with him up at Steamboat and with all those dudes, and we had a great fucking. He was gonna set in with me. Yeah, he was gonna set in with me on my show, and something happened. I think he got the shits or something. And
I mean, there's a lot of things. You eat too much of that special chocolate up there, and
dude, man, I tell you what, I don't know if there's a single square mile anywhere ever that goes through as much alcohol as Steamboat Music Fest does. I mean, it is fucking insane, bro.
I can imagine.
Everybody is just fucking shithouse.
Yeah,
man.
It's all I don't have to drive anywhere. I don't have to do any of that. And the surprising thing for me is, man, I lived in Denver, around the area, in the mountains, all that kind of stuff, for about 7 years, and I was always really proud of it every time I could come back to Texas, because I'd go out to drink with my buddies, and it's like 2 pitchers in, everybody's like, fresh. I'm like, man, feels like I've been drinking water. How are y'all doing? So I don't really get how everybody goes up there and gets so shithoused at altitude,
because
man,
it's just normal people. Yeah. Like, it's just, we were talking, I don't forget who I was talking about this with, but I call them civilians. Like, people that aren't in our industry.
Yep.
Whether it be musician or stand-up comedy or anything like that, people that aren't in the entertainment industry, like when we're doing gigs and we're drinking like we drink, there's just no way a civilian's gonna. And I mean, we're all civilians, obviously, but
Man, I feel like I have a unique perspective on that too, because for that first 6-8 months that I was trying to play music and figure out if I want to stay, in the corporate world and keep doing that job, I was the dude that was trying to do the get home at 2:30 in the morning and wake up at 5:30 to go to work and have not dick around, have a serious job.
I did the same thing.
Have a lot of people that I was responsible for, and man, after about 6 months of that, it looked like I just injected another, bag under my eye, just getting 4 hours of sleep a night for an enormous amount of time.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I think I did it. I think I played 3 to 4 shows a week for 2.5 years while I was still working in the normal job.
Yeah, man.
Fuck, dude. I don't know how I did it.
Well, when you're playing those hard shows too, where it's
10
your
to
last
2.
song's done it. Yeah, 2. And then you got loadout after that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
2 hours and get home at 4 in the morning and then got to wake up at 6 to go do the job.
Dude, when I first started doing this full time was in 2006. And we had full-fledged fucking PA, full-fledged light show, moving heads, the whole 9 yards that we loaded in at every venue. So we would have to get to the venue. I would get off work at
06. That's back when that shit was heavy.
4:35, right? And then I get to the venue. We'd set everything up and ready to go by 9:30, 9:45, 10 o'clock. And then we would play for 4 hours. And then it would take us 2 hours, hour and a half, 2 hours just to tear down. And then every night we're going. I mean, I wouldn't roll home until I don't even know when I slept back then.
Yeah.
And now, dude, if I don't get 7 hours or 8 hours of sleep, I'm fucking useless, bro. Right now, Brody just started football camp, and I have to be up at 5:30. I got to have him at the school by 6:30. And dude,
well, I mean, I don't know when people are going to be listening to this, but currently it's daily 110 degrees all day in Texas for the past month and for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So they got to go early. Yeah.
Yeah, they moved it. Yeah, they moved it. They actually moved their practice from the afternoon to the mornings. And I mean, I don't mind doing it. I don't mind doing it. We do a lot to sacrifice to let him play sports, just like we did his older brother.
Yeah, man.
We do a lot, but man, if I last night I went to bed at 1 o'clock. Maybe 1:30, and I woke up at 5:30, and then I took him to school, and I came back, and it took me a little while to, I smoked a little bit.
Yeah, man. Takes me a minute to unwind.
Yeah, I finally fell back asleep at 9 and slept till 11. I had to wake up till 11, and I honestly feel like I got 3 hours of sleep. I don't feel like I got 4 hours and then 3 hours.
Yeah.
I feel like I just got 3 hours, and also, 97% of my life I don't have to wake up to an alarm clock.
Yeah, that's so nice.
When I do have to wake up to an alarm clock, even if I get 10 hours of sleep, if that fucking alarm clock wakes me up,
yeah, dude, it's
I'm ruined, dude. Ruined for the whole day.
I get it. Oh, and it's almost worse when it's not your alarm clock. You know what I mean?
I don't ever have that problem. Yeah.
Anyway,
Candace hates my alarm.
Yeah,
because it takes a lot. It's like,
oh man, if you could have a silent alarm on, if she moves. It'll wake me up, dude.
Oh, not me.
I'm such a light sleeper.
I sleep so deep.
Lucky.
Yeah. Candace is super light sleeper.
Yeah.
I wake her up a lot.
I'm gonna do well if the people ever come in. You know what I mean? To attack the place.
Fuck.
Come into our tents to attack our clan.
Yeah, they'll have, dude. Not only do I sleep deep, I also sleep with a box fan on high. So it's like,
yeah.
That's what I hear in my head.
Yeah.
So
The older and rattlier the box fan, the better.
Dude, somebody could come into the house and clear the whole motherfucker out, and I'm not gonna know. And you know what? As long as I get
wherever that house is.
Yeah, as long as I get my 8 hours of sleep, I don't give a fuck. I ain't have it.
Yeah.
If you motherfucker wake me up at 4 hours of sleep, y'all are gonna die. Dead. I will fucking kill you with my bare hands. Don't fuck with my sleep. My sleep is my sleep, and I like to sleep.
Oh, I get it, man.
Candace not really gets on to me, but she talks shit because I take naps. I'm a napper. And I'll take a fucking nap.
Dude, I didn't used to appreciate naps, but talk about gold nowadays, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great when
even 30, 45 minutes, dude.
Or 2 hours.
Yeah.
Whatever.
That's the business.
It's great. When I fall asleep 1 o'clock, you sleep till 3, and you're wake up, go play a gig, fucking spry.
Yes, sir.
I tell you what, the one thing that people that don't do what we do don't understand is lack of sleep is probably the hardest on your voice. Like if I have to go play a show, like Saturday, I only got like 4.5, maybe 5 hours sleep. Maybe not even that. Dude, I was struggling so hard to make it through that show that night. I could just feel everything was tight and so, man, if you're a singer out there, dude, you got to get some Z's, bro. You got to.
I was talking to somebody earlier today about like having come from, working so like I know you were working and playing gigs for a long time, but I just straight up was the corporate world, didn't even own a guitar. You know what I mean? Until about 6 years ago now, I guess it's been. So for me, there was never even like trying to do both. You know what I mean? So I didn't have a voice. I was exercising. I wasn't trying to sing. I wasn't doing any of those things. And I found out pretty quick, man, you don't get enough sleep. You don't get enough rest. You don't get enough food or energy in you. And you go out and play those gigs by like day number 3, man, you're starting to deal with your cheeks are cramping, your throat's cramping, your diaphragm's cramping a little bit. You know what I mean? Like
fingers are hurting.
Yep.
Remember those days?
Yeah. Oh man, and the forearm like cramping around the guitar too. Oh god, yeah, man. Back before the calluses. Oh god.
You know what gets me now is the calluses are there permanently. I mean, I play guitar so much, but sometimes I'll get a bone bruise.
Oh yeah, hit it too hard.
Yeah, when that happens, bro, it's like fuck, and then you're making you're barely holding on to chords. You know what I mean? Yeah. Fucking good times.
I'll tell you off air about the time a couple of weeks ago, me and Wes Nixon were heading to Nashville and almost got to spend a few weeks outside of Nashville, if you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was fun. But in the midst of that, I got a little bit nervous and ended up closing the door on my finger, but just the tip of just my middle finger.
Yeah.
And it's been like 2 weeks of playing guitar with that thing just hit. It was bruised for a little while there. You could see the black just sitting on there while I was playing. It's like,
yeah, I did the same thing with the ring finger. Yeah, I did the same thing. I don't know. This has been 5 or 6, 7 years ago, but I was loading my shit in my truck, and I threw something in the truck, and my finger went in between the mic stand, and all the weight pinched down on the mic stand.
Ooh,
dude, I cried like a little fucking bitch.
It does not feel good,
dude. I cried like a little fucking baby, dude. And then it was fucked up. Probably 3 months, man. And then one day I was throwing the football with Gavin, and I jammed my finger. Same thing, dude. It took like 4 or 5 months to heal because obviously we don't get to rest our hands.
Yeah.
It's a struggle, bro. Being a musician's a fucking struggle.
Well, it's all those stupid little things you don't think about. Like I do feel like a diva occasionally when it's like, well, man, I don't know if it's a good idea for me to be loading a bunch of rock out. You know what I mean? I don't know if the best job description for me right now is like throwing pallets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just it seems so ridiculous, but it's those little things where it's like, okay, I can still go out and do all this kind of stuff and smash your finger with a hammer or something like that, and then you go to play your gig, and all of a sudden every single one of those songs is trash, and it's like, well, I don't care how good you are, that sounds terrible.
That's why I won't fight anybody.
Yeah, you got to take care.
I'm not gonna fight somebody, dude. I had a guy sucker punch me at Pug one night. I mean, I'm talking about fucking hit me, and I turned around and I was like, did you just fucking hit me? And the only thing that could come out of my mouth was, you hit like a fucking bitch. Because he cocked me like at blindside. I was like, he was here, I was looking this way, and never saw it coming. He fucking nailed me, and I didn't even go after him because I don't know, something in my brain was like, don't fucking hit anybody, dude. Do not fucking hit anybody. Like, I mean, if I get mad enough, I'll pick some shit up.
Yeah,
I'll come after you, but I'm just not. I don't know, man. I'm not gonna fight somebody. I'm not gonna put my hands at risk for some bullshit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I get it.
That's just the way I am.
Man, there's a certain part of me, and I feel like an a-hole for feeling this way, but there's a certain part of me feels like I lived a long time working in a world where, like, I'd get up every morning. The reason you get up early for work is so that you can take that shower and put on that business suit and get ready to be a different person.
Right.
All day long, right? You got to put yourself in the drawer and throw it away. You got to temper it the whole day, and as soon as you get off work, you can take off that tie or take off the shirt or take off the dirty ass pants, whatever, man, and go back to being who you normally are. But I feel like for the first time in my life, I'm honestly who I am most, if not all of the time. When I'm on stage, when I'm talking right here, whenever I'm talking to anybody, I feel like it's the first time I can be proud of who I am and stand by the principles that really matter to me.
Really?
You know what I mean? Yeah,
That's cool.
I honestly feel that way. And it means a lot to me. It means more to me than I think is reasonable. You know what I mean? And I can honestly say that. But it's gotten me, I mean, as you know, you've been around me long enough.
Yeah.
It's got me into situations where it seems like I'm a little bit of a hothead, or it seems like I'm somebody that is a little bit quick to say, well, you know, it doesn't have to be done here. Let's step outside and take care of things. But I do very much feel convicted in being a good man, trying to stand by some kind of principles.
Yeah.
And it means something to me to stand by those. And it means something to me whenever people don't stand by those or think that those don't matter or walk out of line with those kind of things. You know what I mean?
I know. I've seen it.
I don't mean to sound like an asshole, man. And I'm not trying to be, you know, I'm not some crusader or anything.
No, here's
like
the deal.
that, but
This is what I'm noticing, because I get called an asshole a lot too. And what it is, we're just real motherfuckers, man. We're just real. And I'm not talking about thug, like we're fucking real. You know, it's not that. Like, what you see with both of us is what you get. And we wear our emotions on our sleeve, and we wear our hearts on our sleeve, and we say what's on our fucking mind. That's how we are. And if you just look at the majority of society, they're not that way. The majority of society is just doing what they can do to, you know, to not go fucking crazy.
yeah.
But what they don't realize is if you would just fucking let go and be you, it will eliminate all of these social issues, like all of these anxiety and stress. And like, I don't even know the last time I was like anxious. I couldn't even tell you. And I've had some crazy big fucking things happen to me in the last couple years, and I can't tell you, I don't think ever was I anxious about it. I just can't tell you, because
Excuse me.
I don't know, man. I feel like if you're living your truth and I know that's hippy dippy shit, but if you're living your truth and you're real and you're being real with yourself, that you're going to automatically be real with others. And then you don't have anything to stress. There's no, like, I don't know. If you're not saying what's on your mind, that means that you're not being honest with someone.
Or you haven't taken the time to think through things well enough to be convicted about anything.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like to actually stand for any principles that matter, to where when things are trying to push against those principles, you at least say, whoa. You know what I mean?
Right. But there's so many of us in society that just kind of clamor down, and I'm not saying anything.
Yeah.
You know, like one of the things that I was doing is when I was really big in the cover scene here in Houston, when a venue fucked over a musician, I felt it was my duty to roast them, to call them the fuck out, even if it wasn't me, because I wanted all of my musician friends to avoid that happening.
We're brotherhood, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And it just blows my mind how many...
And sisterhood, sir.
Yeah. And how many... I don't know how many musicians wouldn't do that, or would still like, fuck it, I'll go take the gig. I'll go play the gig. Mm-hmm. Instead of being like, man, fuck that shit. Mm-hmm. You know, like, to me, like, for example, there should be no reason a venue cancels you the day of the show, short of something like 9/11, like short of something or a tornado. You know what I mean? Short of something just crazy. And if they do cancel you because of rain or something, because they don't have the right situation to move you inside, they should still compensate you accordingly. That's just the way I view it. Yep. Now, at least have the conversation. There's sometimes when I'll be like, man, you know what? It's cool. You know, there's not going to be anybody there. I don't really need the money.
Give one of them gummies.
Like
another good one. Yeah, thank you.
Like fuck it. You know what I mean? Like,
I do, man.
Like, sometimes I'm just as excited to get out of the gig as you are about not having me.
Yeah, I get it. But
that's got to be on my end. And what these guys don't realize, these bar owners don't realize, is that you have as a bar owner, you have a budget. As a bar owner. All right, bro. Party time.
You know me.
Yeah, let's get wild.
You're right.
As a bar owner, you have a budget, right? Mm-hmm. And you should be planning
or
on,
promoter, booking agent, or whoever. Yes, whoever is the person that's responsible.
but I'm
for
talking about the
paying you.
bar owner. The bar owner. Oh yeah, whoever's responsible for paying you
Yeah.
has a budget. Like if you're a bar, you have an idea what you're going to spend electricity every month. You have an idea what you're going to, and then you have an idea of what you're going to make every month.
Mm-hmm.
You know what days are your busy days, so you can budget your business accordingly. We're the same.
Yeah.
I look at my monthly calendar and I know exactly how much I'm going to make for the month, give or take a little bit because of cancellations or because of tips or whatever. When you come to me and you say, "Oh, we can't have you right now." Well, guess what you just did? You just fucked my entire budget up. And I know you don't care, but I care.
Yep.
And one of the ones that really drives my fucking, like really gets me is when they cancel for sporting events like the World Series. Because you can cancel the show, but you're going to be making more money than you would if I played there. Because it's going to be packed people watching the game. You should still pay me my fucking pay.
Yeah, man.
Because flip here, bar owners.
I can understand what you're saying.
And if I doubt any bar owners listen to this, but if you do, flip the script. Flip the fucking script, right? Say the musician canceled on you, right, the night before because they got offered a gig for way more fucking money.
Or the day of, or
whatever. Like, that is the equivalent of you canceling us for an Astros World Series game.
Well, and the truth of the matter is, it happens a lot of the time where people do that. You know what I mean? It happens a lot of time where musicians do that. I know there's also disrespectful musicians who don't really
For sure.
care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who don't really follow in. But one piece of advice I got way early on in the business from some of the same people we know or mention or stuff like that was the things that you need to pay attention to or put your faith in are your fellow musicians. Because bars come and go, bar owners come and go, bar managers come and go. You know what I mean? And it's not that those relationships aren't genuine. They are absolutely genuine. But it's the same reason that you get bands who, at a certain level, whenever they get up to that level, will have if we're going to play here, before we say yes, before I put you on the calendar to take that time out, there's a contract that you have to sign that says, here's half of what you're going to pay me. And
Right.
at some point in time, whether rain or shine, good or bad, whatever happens, if you cancel the gig, like that check still has to come to us, whether we play it or not. You know what I mean? And it's whatever the amount is that they deal with.
Yeah, I do that now.
And there's plenty of people that still, you may have experienced it at this point too, where that still may not amount to a hill of beans.
Oh,
But what
just happened to me recently.
Yeah, the important part in the whole situation is it's just trying to fight for that respect, to have it be a situation where it's like, look, man, if you found out 24 hours before that, like, the plumbing went out in the place or something like that and you're going to be closed, I get that. I get that kind of thing. But if you knew like 2 weeks ago that something was going to happen and like you made your plans for it and planned the whole thing and then call me like 24 hours out, oh, hey, by the way, we planned this thing tomorrow, so we're not going to have you play. It's like, oh, man, just have the respect for me as the person that you booked to come out and play, to tell me as soon as you know what's going on or to have a conversation with me.
Right.
And let's talk about it. If it's not play that time, if it's book me at another time. I've had venues that are like, hey man, I'm really sorry. And it's not that they'll pay me what I was owed that time, but they'll book me again and pay me like 1.5 times what they were going to pay me, something along those lines.
Yeah.
And it always feels really good whenever those situations work out that way. It feels terrible whenever it just almost feels like you're an afterthought or disrespected. And it's like, oh man, I've got a whole group of guys that are counting on me to pay them. And where's that money going to come from? It's not just me. At this point, it's a whole group of people that I got to think about that are getting paid or not getting paid based off of what's going on. And they had other opportunities that they said no to. They had other chances to make money that they may have said no to. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just a whole it's a whole professional approach to
recently
the thing
that happened. I had a gig at a place called the Stillwater RV Park in Winona, Texas. They contacted me out of nowhere. I didn't reach out to them. They contacted me, and they said, "Hey, we want you for a solo show." And so I booked it. I think it was $400 show. I didn't charge them a deposit because I kind of play those by ear, right?
Yep.
And so, because a lot of places won't deal with you if you do that, right, on my level.
Yeah.
And so I didn't charge them a deposit, and it was on the counter for like 3 or 4 months, bro. And then I got family up there, so I've started to promote it. And 2 weeks, but not even 2 weeks, it was probably a week before the gig. I get an email from the lady, and she says, "Hey, we're gonna have to cancel your gig on this date because our consultant has decided to go a different direction with music." And so I politely sent her back a message that said, it said something along the lines of, "Okay, just want you to know it's pretty bad business to cancel somebody the week of the show, especially when there's a contract signed. Good luck with you and your consultant."
Yeah.
And then her response back was, "Sorry, I'm just doing my job." And I didn't even reply after that. And I'm sure she is, I'm not mad at her. It's just, you know what I mean? Like,
Well, and man, from
how
a
many
certain-
shows did I turn down because of that show was on my calendar?
Yeah, to a certain point, it's almost like, I know it's going to sound ridiculous, but it's almost like we're just fighting. We're fighting really hard to make a name that's worth something. You know what I
Right.
mean? And it's almost like at a certain point in time, what we should count on, like, until we get to that point where it's just infallible, it doesn't matter what you're doing. You're paying me 50 grand if, bus shows up or not. You're just paying me 50 grand. But until I get to that point, it's going to be that never-ending fight of, this is what my time's worth.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so whether I'm there or whether I'm not there, like, I'm just asking you to respect it one way or another. It's not that I think I'm a god or I think I'm worthy of any of those other kind of things or anything like that. It's
fucking business.
Yeah, dude.
It's not this. You can take all the personal shit out of it. It's business.
Yeah.
This is fucking business. And we agreed that you were going to pay me a certain rate. I agreed that I was going to do a certain service for you. I passed up other opportunities to do that service for someone else, sometimes making more money than what I did with you. And then you're going to tell me last minute, "Oh, I'm sorry, I no longer require your service." Okay, that's your right. We live in Texas. That's your right. You want to do that, that's fine. But we should then be able to fucking roast you. And then there should be some sort of a brotherhood amongst musicians that says, "Hey, see all this crazy shit?" I mean, look at the shit that happened with that Hochatown thing in Oklahoma. Remember that?
Yeah, well, man.
And I don't really know all the details about it, but it's just funny because accumulatively the musicians were like, "That's fucked up," and everybody thought it was fucked up, but then
well, that's why, man, you
change
and
it.
I have had plenty of conversations, like, outside of this, just like one-on-one, really close conversations about some really hard subjects where this industry is concerned. And I think the one infallible approach, like, I may get heated in certain situations, but I try to take the approach out to the public and at large of just, "Hey, man, that sucks. That's unfortunate." You know what I mean? Like, things just sometimes don't work out. But you know what people, what good people do? Good people, I don't want to say put on their bootstraps or anything, but good people let that shit bounce off them just like they let anything else bounce off with them. You wake up every day and you deal with whatever you have to deal with, man. But you don't let that become your norm to the point that it steals your happiness.
Yeah.
It steals your thunder.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Same thing, same approach from these sort of situations. I feel like the couple of venues where I've had stuff happen where things have canceled and they were good venues, and shit just happened or there was a miscommunication with management or something along those lines. Typically the situation was remunerated very quickly.
Right.
Somebody got in touch with me and we took care of it. Like I was saying, booked another one, whatever the case was. I feel like in those sort of situations where things don't go well or, where you have those situations too, where it's just, we didn't want him anyway. You know what I mean? Like, that's not our kind of thing. Well, very quickly, typically those situations take care of themselves.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
For sure.
It's not usually a situation where those sort of things are long in the teeth, because that's just not how we do things. You know what I mean? And by we, I mean just the industry as a whole. We're respectful. You know what I mean? We don't air our dirty laundry out in front of people. We don't have problems in front of people. We don't disrespect people in that way.
Who doesn't?
Like the industry as a whole, we try to take that approach. But there's the fringe.
I don't take that approach.
Oh, well, whatever.
I fucking, dude, I'm telling you, I don't. I've been doing this a long time. right? And like you said, I know what my time is worth,
Yeah.
right? And I have certain values, and I'm going to stick to my values. And if you fucking step on those values, I'm going to roast you.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like from the respect standpoint of view, like disrespecting my values, like stepping on them that way.
Yeah.
For the most part, all of us get along, even if we don't love each other, love what each other's
Right.
doing. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I have a hard time not loving everybody, but like even in situations where everybody doesn't love each other, there's still a level of respect, right?
Oh, I get what you're saying.
Still
You're
a
talking about
level of
amongst us
respect.
musicians.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
There's still a
I
level
thought
of
you meant-
respect to be able to operate and be able to do
Yeah.
things. You know what I mean? It's whenever you get outside of that level of respect that I almost feel like at that point it like I can get mad and go after those people, but the truth of the matter is I just need to stick to my guns because that problem's going to take care of itself.
Yeah.
And they're going to do it to somebody else. It's going to happen somewhere else. Because if they're one of the good ones, it's going to take care of itself with me. You know what I mean? They're going to get in touch with me. We're going to take care of ourselves. If it's, places like that Oklahoma, Hachita or whatever it was that you were talking about, man, it's not going to be one. It's not a one-off that happens with. It's going to happen over and over again.
Yeah, and there's so many places out there that do live music, and there's so many places that don't know what they're doing, and they're going to accidentally fuck you over. But what I've noticed is that usually when it's an accident or they didn't know any better, as soon as you say, hey, like you said, the problem's remedied. Where you have the real fucking problem are the venues that have been there for a while, and they have someone in charge that thinks they know what they're talking about, or they think they put someone in charge. I'll give you a prime example. There was a chain. I won't say their name on here. There was a chain of bars in Houston they kind of cornered the market. Not just Houston. They had Houston, Oklahoma, Denver. They had multiple, like 20 something stores, and this company was kicking ass and taking names, right?
Yeah.
Then they put a fucking DJ in charge of live music. And this isn't like a small little thing. This is like a bar, like a really big company.
Yeah.
Dude, not even kidding, dude. In no time, that place went from 28 locations. I think they have like 3 now. So there's where your issue
Takes care of itself, man.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't play those places anymore, obviously, but there's certain places that I won't play. They're one of them. I won't play Sam's Boats anymore after, with COVID. The COVID thing really opened my eyes to how little we matter to that side of the industry. For most places, I had a few places that like really stood up and took care of me, like really did. But companies like Baker Street and Sam's Boat and these companies, they turned their fucking back on part of the people who built their companies.
Well, man, so we were in a unique, I don't know if you remember this, but for me, I felt like we were in an extremely unique, beneficial situation here being around Montgomery County because we were able to move around and do what we kind of wanted to a lot earlier than anybody else and a lot freer than anybody else, at an earlier point in time. And I remember that even though we were able to get out and do stuff, a lot of the businesses were still closed down. And one of the interesting takeaways for me was how little information there was from anybody to anybody on what you should do. Like there were people that would come to the gigs that I was playing, come to the bars that I was playing at, who they were 2 people who worked together every day. And I knew they had each other's text messages. You know what I mean? They could talk, they could do whatever they wanted to, but they're sitting there trying to figure out, okay, what do we do? Where did you get that from? How do I get this? Where do we go? What do we do? What website do we go to? How do we go through this to get the stuff taken care of?
But those aren't what I'm talking about. I'm talking about these companies. Just take Sam's Boat, for example. Mm-hmm. Sam's Boat, Check 2 Entertainment, my old entertainment company, we booked for them, right? For like the last probably 6 years since about 2013, before 2020. So whatever, 7 years. Then 2020 happened. Live music built that company. It wasn't their shitty food. It wasn't their fucking great service. It was live music and hot wait staff. That's what built it. Well, then COVID happened, and obviously they can't pay us, and that's not where my complaint is. There's plenty of places that can't play us. That's fine. I mean, everybody's business got shut down.
Yeah.
But then they opened back up, and they didn't start actually having live music again for a year. because, you know what I mean? Like, that's fucked up. To me, that's fucked up. And especially since they probably got PPP.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what they do with the PPP, they probably put it in their fucking bar and you know what I mean, renovated something. But I don't know if they did or not. I don't know. But it's like, to me, the people need to matter more, regardless of it's your bathroom attendant, if it's a musician, if it's your delivery driver, like a server, a hostess, a busser. Like, people need to matter more. And so whenever those companies did that, especially Sandsboat, whenever they, you know, it was a year, probably over a year before they actually had live music again. And I don't know, man. That's it. I'm not. And then they want me back, and I'm just like, nah, I'm fucking good. I have no desire.
Where are they now?
I mean, I think they're doing fine. I don't really know. I know that, you know, I'm no longer part of Check Two, and I know Danny and Kevin still play over there. And I'm not affiliated with them anymore. So if you hear this, Sam's Boat, you can't fire it. I mean, you can do whatever the fuck you want, but I wouldn't fire them because they're not affiliated with me. But I don't know, man. It just really rubbed me the wrong way, you know, whenever those companies do that kind of shit.
I get it.
Or the companies that are like, well, nope, we've decided we're cutting live music.
Yeah.
Not like you can't give 3 weeks notice or 2 weeks notice of those that had gigs on your, you know, you're just, nope, that's it, we're canceling.
Yeah, and you're talking that's a very good point, a good point to make that distinction too, because man, I try not to ascribe to malice what's just incompetence. You know what I mean? Like, I try not to. Yeah, you get it. You get what I'm saying.
No,
but from that same standpoint of view, that doesn't mean I want to be naive. In the face of malice. You know what I mean? I very much want to be astute enough to know the difference between the two whenever I'm faced with the difference between the two. But that's why also I do feel like in this particular situation it worked itself out. You know what I mean? Like. And I do very much feel like anytime we've been faced with anything in this industry, man, I feel like if any more so than anything you can do in your life, you can do a lot of things in your life where just sheer force of will let you make it, and will let you make it along the way. That's not how this is. That's not how the music industry is, man. Yeah. Sheer force of will, like you can have somebody with the biggest will, and all they'll be is a bulldozer that'll come up against a brick wall at some point in time. And everybody will look at that like, whoa, you know what I mean? Don't do it that way. I don't know what the way is to do it, but don't do it that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of how those things end up. So it very much is an exercise in finding your space within the existing paradigm that's out there. But like there's still that, it's the level of respect coming back both ways, because if you get out of bounds on it, it'll check you pretty quick.
Yeah, oh for sure.
You know what I mean? But as long as you stay in bounds, everybody's like, oh yeah, I mean, even if you're not my favorite person in the world, man, I'm not gonna try to piss on your parade or do anything to mess you over. You know what I mean? For the most part, there's instances where things get outside of the boundaries, but for the most part, man, I think like there's that tenuous web of respect that exists between all of us.
I agree.
You know?
I mean, even the musicians that I have a problem with, there's two in particular that I don't care for them at all. But if a venue is to ask me about them, both of those guys, I would say, no, man, they're good at what they do.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not going to sit there and even though one of them did not return that favor, he had no problem running his mouth to a venue about me, but that's okay. You know what I mean? It's worked itself out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, things happen that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So I'm just not that worried about it anymore. You know, this is what I know. I know that at night I can lay my head on my pillow and know that I didn't fuck anybody over today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, if
that's like, and beyond that, anything that I did, that if there was a point in time in my life where like I really had to worry about how that was going to affect my tomorrow, if I'm going to bed worried, it's not because I'm worried about what they're going to do that affects my tomorrow. It's those 17, 20 other moves that I'm going to make tomorrow or the next couple of days that are affecting my future. Like that's whatever you had going on today, I dealt with at the moment.
Right.
Because that's that level of respect that was infringed upon, you know what I mean? And maybe you don't understand the rules the same way that most people do, you know what I mean? I don't mean to sound too disrespectful out there, but I completely, I'm not a father. You know what I mean? I'm not a father. And this is a little bit of a tangent, but I can completely understand a father's feelings where like having somebody go into the bathroom that shouldn't be in the bathroom with their daughter or something like that is concerned. I can understand that. Same thing here. Like you don't have to be a musician to understand whenever what you're doing is just incredibly disrespectful towards a musician.
Right.
You know what I mean? And maybe that's a musician that you don't respect, and maybe that's the truth of the matter.
Right.
Maybe that's the truth of the matter. But it's a two-way street, and don't expect it coming back
right.
when you didn't give it in the first place.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I agree 100%, man. And I don't know. I just know that the people that have a problem with me, none of it is because something I did to them. It's because of something I said.
Yeah.
And I just,
Oh, that's cool. I know people have a problem with me just because of who I think I am. Who does he think he is?
Oh, yeah. But again, I think that goes back to because we're confident. We're confident in who we are as people, like as men, right? As men, we're both very confident in who we are as men.
Well, man, for the first time in my life, I feel like I wake up every day with the direction and purpose of what really matters, what I was born to do. Like, this is why I'm here.
Yeah.
And it's so convicted because I spent so much of my life not doing that. And I knew I was doing something wrong. I knew this is not what I was born to do.
Yeah.
This is not what you were meant to do. And as soon as I started doing it, it's like, wow, this is what I was born to do. There's nothing that's going to get in my way.
Right. But what I'm talking about is those guys, the other guys, whoever they are in any industry, it's all stemmed from insecurities. It's all stemmed from them not knowing who they are as men.
Yeah.
And it's who they are. They don't know who they are as artists.
Well, yeah, I know plenty of plumbers that are secure as shit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That are
sure.
great men that go out every day and work their ass off and
100%.
love their family.
Oh, these guys would have the guys we're talking about, the artists we're talking about. They would have the same issue in any whatever they did for a job, they'd have the same fucking issue. If they, they would probably be hated. They'd probably be fucking hated at
Mind if I use your table for a minute?
No, knock it out. They'd probably fucking be hated. You know what I mean? I don't know what the rules are. If you can get in trouble for doing anything. It's clove.
No, it's clearly labeled on the side of the bottle. Says THCA, so it's legal in the state.
Gotcha. 10-4.
Yeah.
In Colorado.
No, it's I purchased this in the state of Texas.
Oh,
yeah.
There you go.
At a head shop.
There you go. Yeah, I got you. THCA.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that for a
You want to talk about that for a minute?
Palms.
Because I want to talk about this for a minute.
Yeah, we should. I think that until I don't want to make this a political podcast, and I don't really want to be political every time. I know I got political yesterday. Or the last
dude, I
episode.
just want to talk about THCA in and of itself.
But the one thing, I think that if the right is gonna be all high and mighty on personal freedom, then they need to let us have personal freedom.
That's the part that's gotten weird to me about I guess the conservative party is I always felt like the values were more conservative, but it was very straightforward and very much so err on the side of personal freedom over spiritual or religious overzealousness. You know what I mean? I, for example, grew up in a household where my dad went to seminary whenever I was very young. Chaplain's assistant in the Army, was going to be a chaplain for a little while there, and went on to electrical engineering career. But my mom currently, she's a Lutheran minister and a Christian counselor. So I grew up in a household where I think from the outside looking in, most people would say, oh, well, you are definitely a devout Christian who preaches the Bible all day because that's the household you grew up in. And that's what your parents were overzealous about introducing in your life. And the weird part was, the household I grew up in, man, they were like, well, here's the facts as we believe them.
Make up your own mind.
Figure it out. Yeah. Figure it out on your own.
Yeah, my issue is the fact that I live in Texas, which is a red state, and we're supposed to be about personal freedom. Yep. But I legally cannot play Texas Hold'em in Texas. I mean, you can if you with all those rules going on, but it's technically illegal to gamble in Texas.
From what I understand, in Texas, Hold'em is legal as long as the game is private and the odds are equal for all players involved, and those are the only two stipulations.
No, it's if the venue cannot take a rake.
Playing Hold'em at a venue is different,
right.
but
Any,
like,
yeah, oh yeah, I'm talking about at a venue. So playing Hold'em at a venue, the venue cannot take a rake. But what they do now is they rent seats out. So you pay like $35 an hour or whatever it is. I don't know what it is to rent that seat out. But that's not my point. My point is why is it fucking regulated at all?
yeah,
Why is it illegal for me to do something with my own fucking money? Like, it's just stupid.
why do I need a nanny to tell me what to do?
Yeah, it's stupid. So that's why I get really, really mad at the right for being so fucking stringent on those stupid vice rules. You know what I mean? Just chill out. Let people do what they're gonna do as long as they're not hurting anybody.
Man, I feel like it's both sides. It just depends on who like I feel like both sides still have the vice rules. Otherwise, the left would have already legalized weed
Yeah, I agree.
universally. You know what I mean?
But it's
There's
all about
some sort of corporate interest somewhere in there that's making money off of weed being illegal.
But also, if they make it legal, they lose a voting platform. They lose something to say, hey, we're going to make it legal. Because every time the fucking left comes out and says, we're going to legalize weed, Obama said it, Biden said it, you know, it has yet to happen.
It's through THCA, though. By the way, it says it on the... Let's
All
talk about that specifically for a minute. Let's talk about this
Okay.
specifically for
All
a
right.
minute. Do you know what that is?
I have no idea.
Okay. Do you know what regular weed
Yes.
is, right?
Yes.
Okay, so
Never done it, but yes.
your understanding of the term used to describe it clinically, how would you describe the weed in Colorado that we can't smoke?
Oh, yeah. That I don't know any about that. I just know that somebody hands me something, I smoke, and I get really fucking high.
Okay, well,
That's it. That is my. I know there's indica. I know there's sativa. I know I like indica because I like to sleep.
Well, they call it the colloquialism that it's become known as is Delta 9, right?
Yeah.
It's Delta 9 tetrahydrocannabinol that's illegal in the state of Texas, right? And illegal all over. State of Texas, it's become legal recently if it's at 0.3% or lower, but true blue Delta 9 tetrahydrocannabinol is illegal in the state of Texas. Now, here's where the issue comes into play. Delta 9 tetrahydrocannabinol only exists after you heat THC amino acid up to 220 degrees or hotter. It's called decarboxylation, right? So you decarboxylate the weed, and it essentially turns into Delta 9 tetrahydrocannabinol and carbon dioxide. And that's what's expelled off of it. But it's the tetrahydrocannabinol then that creates the psychoactive effect inside your body. Otherwise, this shit has one of the best amino acids available under the sun to mankind, right?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
It's weed.
I bought it at
Yeah, I don't understand all the rules. This is what I know. I know that I can legally go to a fucking smoke shop and I can legally buy this.
Here's my question.
Hang on, just real quick. I can legally buy this thing of Delta 8 gummies. I can then eat this gummy and be on the motherfucking moon in an hour and a half sometimes. I just know I bought it legally from a place that has a license, and then I came home and I ate it, and I got fucking high. As far as anything other than that, I don't know all the ins and outs. I don't know the rules. I don't know the laws.
Well, I do, and see, that's my issue with that is you had to grow a bunch of plants and then subject them to like a bunch of. Essentially, what happens is, man, you get Everclear or you get dry ice or some method along those lines to extract the oils out of the plants, and then you condense them and make them into gummies. For me, it's like, is that really healthier than just burning a flower, bro?
I just
I'm not trying to talk shit to
No.
you. You know what I mean? I'm saying
just-
from the top down, it's like
I just
these
prefer
are
to eat it.
these are the loopholes that you've let kind of come into play. Have you actually looked at what you're talking about at this point?
They don't. That's the whole point. It's all about fucking votes and scaring.
Anyway, we're gonna get you're gonna do it.
Yeah, it's
That's
all
gonna
about.
go. We're gonna get off on this tangent. It's
all
gonna
about-
happen.
I'm just telling. That's what it's about, though. It's not about. Listen, we're past the point of being about what's right or what's wrong. Now we're about what fires up your
Makes
base the most.
money. Yeah.
What fires up your base the most?
Oh, from the political.
Yeah, that's it. So you're gonna fucking, right now we know that the transgender debate.
Let's introduce your listeners to one of the coolest things.
Yes, let's do that.
The transgender debate. You can keep going.
Like the transgender debate. Right now that no matter what, if you want to fire up the fucking right, you say something anti-transgender. And if you want to fire up the fucking left, you say something pro-transgender, or you call somebody out for being anti-trans, transphobic or whatever the fuck it's called. And it will fire your fucking base up, and everybody's yelling and screaming, blah, 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 somebody, man, because he doesn't have a dick anymore. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
While the whole fucking time, Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell are just laying the fucking pipe to the American fucking people.
Yeah, dude.
It's like, hey, look what we're doing over here. We're just, anyway, that's it. That's all about politics. I'm gonna talk. I don't want to get into it. It pisses me off.
Watch this cool shit.
Let's talk about weed. Weed's cooler. Okay, so what is the benefit of putting it in the blunt to begin with? Why not just have a water bong?
Man, okay.
So why not just put weed in this bowl?
One of my big issues is, I know this is going to sound fucking weird, but since I started smoking way back in the day, I've always had an issue with the taste of butane.
Okay. Because the lighter.
Yeah. So I've tried different things. Like one of the more responsible things I've done. One of the more responsible things I've done was had some hemp rope and like a little candle, to where I'd light the hemp rope on the candle, and then I'd light my bowl with the hemp rope.
Oh, gotcha. I understand.
It's like, dude, this is too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it got to the point where I was just smoking papers, you know what I mean, wraps and stuff. And then I got to where I was like, man, I don't like the glue that's going on in them. So got all the way down to grape. I mean, dude, when you're talking about like some people smoke a regular amount. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some people do.
And then there's Orion. Did you were you drug tested at your big boy job? Did you smoke back then? Oh, you did. Anyway.
I smoked the day I go in for those drug tests, bro.
How long?
See, the difference is in most of those jobs, if it's not a government job, they can't invade your privacy for you to submit your urine tests.
And as long as it's not a safety issue.
I don't. But yeah,
like
exactly. Well, that's what I mean by government. You have to have a license. You have to have
Gotcha.
some.
You're
kind
not
of
a
license
forklift driver.
Oh yeah, you don't want that.
Yeah.
So as long as it wasn't that, they couldn't invade your privacy. So I'd always just get the.
That was
fake,
smooth though.
The
that was smooth. I like
right?
that. Yeah, that was good taste. Had
Pretty
good taste
nice,
to it. I like that. Let's try that again. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. We're gonna see what's happening.
I don't take really big hits when I smoke because I learned my lesson.
Yeah.
I don't like to cough, and yeah. But
smart lesson.
So how long have you smoked?
Man, I still remember. I took my first puff. It was summer between my junior and senior year of high school.
About the same for me.
Yeah, and the ironic thing was, man, I was pretty hardcore into football back then. So I didn't drink. I didn't really drink soft drinks. You know what I mean? I tried to stay as straight-laced as I could.
I started drinking when I was like 12.
I mean, there were a couple of instances where I went to parties and drank a little bit more than I should, but it was just trying to show off more than anything. It wasn't like out of a sense of this is what I want to do or what I want to be. Like I wanted to be a football player. Yeah. You know what I mean? But then I got to college, and first couple of weeks of college were hell, man. It was hard.
You were playing college?
No, I was trying to.
What
the first
school?
couple of weeks at Sam Houston.
Oh, cool.
And it was hell. Classes were hell, dude. I failed one of my tests like right off the bat, the first couple of weeks in, and I was pretty sure I wasn't going to make it anymore. And my roommate that I had at the time, he was like, well, fuck it, man. Let's just, get high for your first semester, and then you can go find a real job somewhere. I was like, all right, fine. Whatever.
Yeah.
I guess that's what we're going to do. And so I got real stoned the next morning before I went to class. And when I went and sat in class, it was kind of weird, but all I could do was pay attention to the professor the whole time. Dude, I ended up on the dean's list at the end of that semester. Having failed that first test, I still ended up on the dean's list. I had good enough grades.
So it really helps you focus.
Yeah, man. It takes all of the nonsense away and lets me just concentrate on what matters.
That's what I like about shrooms. Weed doesn't do that for me. Weed definitely does not do that for me. But mushrooms, man, it's like, I tell you what, the best experience, I've had a lot of really cool experiences, but when you're up in Colorado and you're setting up on a fucking rock out in the middle of nowhere with Rocky Mountains all around you, right? And you this vast wilderness, and you look up and there's just peaks, 14,000 foot peaks, and you're about an hour and a half, 2 hours into a fucking trip on shrooms, and you're just like, you realize two things. You realize, one, you fucking do not matter. Yeah. You were such a small speck of nothingness on a giant fucking rock flying through outer space that could, I mean, really, it could be fucking demolished in a second if something fucking, the trajectory of something. And
the deeper
off.
you into it, the more deeper you get into it, the crazier that fucking thought gets.
So you're looking at that, and you're also looking at how you're in wild animal habitat. There's so many things just beyond those fucking woods that will kill you.
Well, all that pure air that you're breathing up there too,
that too,
not touched by hardly any pollutants or anything.
Right,
dude. It's
man.
just pure.
Yeah, and you're just sitting there, and it's like, it I don't know, man.
When you're touching ground too, that's not connected to like a city. You know what I mean? It's not connected to a grid. You're actually connected back to the earth again.
The best shit I ever took in my entire life. I'll tell this story. I don't care. Best shit I ever had. I was at my buddy's place, and we were doing some shrooms, and I think we did like 3 grams, right? So they were feeling good. And then we like rode one of the coolest things, we rode the 4-wheeler around, and he drove and I rode with my back to him. And so I'm looking at the road.
Yeah.
And all I could see was like mama trees and baby trees, like holding, you know what I mean? It's like, ah. And so we ride the 4-wheelers around, we walk around, we go down this creek. It was great. It was fucking awesome. And then we get back to camp, and I'm like, man, I need to shit. This room shit. You know what I mean? I'm like, God, I need to shit, dude. So he had one of these like chairs. It's like a shitter chair.
Yeah.
And so I just picked it up, and I walked just out in the woods, bro. I don't know how far I walked. It felt like a fucking mile.
Yeah.
It was probably 50 yards. I don't know. I literally take off all of my clothes and I fold them. Dude, I don't even fold my clothes in real life, dude.
Yeah.
I take off all of my clothes, every fucking stitch. And I fold them and set them on the ground. And then I set the chair up like, I don't know, 15, 20 feet away. I knew I had to get away from my clothes. You don't want the splatter,
Yeah.
And so I'm in like this like oak flat, right? So there's a bunch of oak leaves on the ground, and there's oak trees around, and then there's pine trees too, but it's mostly oak trees. And I mean, I'm sitting there in the woods just naked. Like nude, my feet touching the fucking earth, right?
Yeah, absorbing all those fucking electrons and shit.
I'm just like looking around, and the sun is like perfectly shining through the leaves, and it was like a good temperature. I remember being, like,
oh, it's Colorado. It had to be beautiful.
No, it was here. It was close to Texas. It was in Texas, but I don't remember where it was. It was like East Texas or something, and but it was just like, it was a good, I would say it was probably like 75, 74, 72 degrees, right? Just like a good, perfect weather. And I just took this shit. And I just remember like thinking there, like the only thing that was bumming me out was the chair. Because I kept thinking how much better it would be if I was just squatting, right?
Yeah.
Without this man-made contraption
Device,
under my ass cheeks.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking to myself, like, this is fucking wonderful. Like, this is wonderful. You want to talk about small things, bro?
Speaking of small things, I gotta go pee.
Okay,
These
go
things
pee.
are hitting me too.
Oh.
It's all happening.
Oh yeah. All right, we're gonna take a small break. We'll be right back. And we are back. We had to take a potty break.
Speaking of potty break, so you're talking about the world's most epic potty break.
Yeah, and that was pretty much it. I was just taking a shit, and it was awesome. It was just like, I don't know. I will remember that. Like, I cannot tell you about any other shit in my life. Not one.
Yeah.
And I've taken some pretty crazy shits.
Yeah.
I mean, I could tell you about sometimes I shit my pants, but I meant like actual, like actual toilet poops.
Well, man, for me, I do feel like I don't typically talk about this a lot in public, but
About taking shits?
no, about eating mushrooms. But for me, I feel like there's plenty of folks out there that they're there for recreational fun, man. Like, let's go out to the bar, get drunk a little bit, take a few mushrooms, have a good time with what's going on out there. But for me, I very, very much feel like there's a spiritual connection with them. You know what I mean? I don't mean to get overly serious with it, but I do feel like a lot of people in a lot of places are chasing some sort of feeling and or chasing some sort of meaning. And the one thing that mushrooms have brought to me is they've allowed me space and opportunity to look within myself for that kind of meaning. You know what I mean? And realize that you can't necessarily control whenever the spin of the lottery ticket comes your way. You know what I mean? But you can control your outlook on things, and you can control ultimately what you're doing day to day to move yourself somewhere. And it's not all about those times when you get lucky and you move the fucking meter 50% all in one fell swoop. It's about every day going in and trying to move it 1 or 2%. You know what I mean? String enough of those, and it may not be every day. It may be 20 days of work to get it to move 1%, or 100 days of work. But it's sort of that idea of just having that optimistic approach towards whatever you're doing in that situation. That, like, man, it's better than those folks that don't have the opportunity to move that needle at all. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's given me the perspective to look at things that way,
But it also gives you the self-awareness to know if that needle is actually moving or not, or it's not your ego that's moving the needle.
And to know the difference of, hey man, this is what you're doing that's kind of moving in the wrong direction. These are some things you need to examine about yourself, and some things you need to work on. And I know that's daunting. I know that's a daunting. Just task for a lot of people, even to just start, but for me, it's been really cathartic. At the end of the day, I know that I'm responsible for the way that I feel. I'm responsible for the things that I do. I'm responsible for the actions that I take. I'm not responsible for the things that happen that I react to, but I'm responsible for my reaction to those things, and I'm still probably a pretty reckless individual by most people's perception, but for me, I feel like I'm a very genuine individual.
Definitely. I wouldn't say reckless. I would say that you're someone who is secure in who you are as a human, and that you're living your best life. And if you want to call that reckless, you can call that reckless. But to me, reckless is putting on a fucking suit and tie every day and going to the same fucking job and working for 8, 9, 10, 12 hours a day and making money for the man or whatever, just so you can pay for your fucking $150,000 Porsche out front and your girlfriend that's with you for the money. Like,
dude.
To me, that's reckless. To me, that is not living your best life.
Well, it's crazy how now, like, the nightmares that I have in my life, like situations that I wake up from panicky, or situations where I wake up back in that office situation, you know what I mean? And I'm right back in it, and I live like a month of life in it, in that dream, and I wake up and it's like, oh, still got my fucking hair.
For all the flaws and all the frustrations and how hard it is, this industry, right? It's better than the alternative to me.
I'm one of those unique guys that's gotten the opportunity to live both sides, because there's a lot of folks out there that are like, oh man, I'll give it, X amount of time and then give it up and go do the other thing. I'm like,
no, you're 100% right. And I did too. I had Gavin when I was 20. I went to work when I was 16.
That's fucking young.
I went to work when I was 16. I had Gavin when I was 20. I was working in a manufacturing plant doing, 7/12s for 3-4 months in a row on night shift for a while. And then I got into management and I started working my way up the company. But it was, I worked my ass off and I made money for a lot of people, and nothing, like, it's okay. There's levels of freedom, right? There's levels of freedom. And if you're doing that job and you're making the money you want to make and you're having the things you want to have, and you got money in the bank, and that's what gets your jollies off, then you're free, right? You're free. but it's not like having everything that you want and not having to do those things.
Yeah, man.
That's fucking free.
Yeah, dude.
You know, would I like to have a nicer car? Sure, I would. Would I like to have my own home? Yeah, I would. But I can tell you what I like more than that. I like not having to worry about homeowners insurance or whatever, you know, property taxes. I don't have to fucking worry about that.
Well, man, for me, I know it sounds like it's a little bit of a fucked up circumnavigation to get to the same point, but like for me, I know what I had to go through to get to the point where I had all of those things, right? And I still felt like at the end of all of that, like I was staring down the barrel of potentially moving up the ladder a little bit more whenever I got out, man. And the whole idea was I don't see happiness on the other side of committing myself further to this company that I don't own, to making money for somebody. I know I'll make more money, but it's still a fraction of what I'm making for this company. And I'm trading my hours for dimes and losing my life, the portion of it that matters. And I know I'm called to do something bigger.
Yeah.
This whole time just gnawing at the back. I know I'm called to do something bigger. I should be doing something bigger. And man, whenever I finally made the call, it was like, there's always those thoughts of I should have done this earlier, I could have done this earlier kind of thing. But I think I had to go through everything I did in life to get to the point I'm at, so I'd appreciate 100%. What it means. Because if I'd have done this whenever I was 20, I'd have probably one of those guys that had done it for 5 years, maybe. You know what I mean? Given up on it, and I'd be living the other life for the rest of my life, saying what I could have.
Yeah, same here.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely, like, I couldn't. People ask me because I went into the cover world, right? I wasn't writing my own stuff. I was just playing cover songs, and I was making a damn good living doing it, and that had its own fucking issues. But when I finally decided to start really pushing my own brand, my own music, my original songs, it was a no-brainer for me, right? It wasn't even like I didn't even have to think about it. It was like, okay, I'm gonna get the opportunity to play my own songs and make money. But I would much rather have $10 in my fucking bank account, right? And 9 of those are mine, than have $10 in my bank account and $1 of those are mine.
Yeah.
And I think that's the huge difference between like what we get to do and not becoming a slave to the, you know.
Well, and if I tell somebody no,
I'm high as fuck. I don't know if anything that I just said made any sense.
Makes perfect sense to me. Makes perfect sense,
you know,
dude.
I'm high on that shit that's you're not, you know, that non
life.
Yeah.
I'm
high on life. Yeah, for sure. We're on the same page because we have both, you know, you lucked out and didn't have kids. So whenever you decided to make that decision, so when you decided to make that decision, did you already have like a substantial amount of savings saved up?
No.
So you weren't really prepped.
Well, I guess for me, the truth of the matter was, man, I'd come off of the whole reason I was in that job and in that position. I was working hard. I was married at the time. I was working hard at that. I was trying to prep for kids, you know what I mean? Trying to prep for owning a house, property, that kind of stuff. And man, whenever that fell apart, it didn't come out of left field for me necessarily. But whenever it fell apart, like for me, it felt like, okay, the next step, we're on for bigger and better things. And whenever I left where I was, came back to Texas, I lived in Nebraska at the time, moved back down to Texas. It's like, okay, I've got a better job now than I had up there, and I'm doing more and I have more responsibility, but what's next? There's still something here, man. We're not fulfilling our purpose. We're waking up every day doing something for somebody else. You know what I mean? And I don't necessarily feel like music was the answer to fulfilling, I just need to do something that's for myself and not do something for somebody else. Because there were opportunities to go out in other business ventures. Yeah, you know what I mean? But they never seemed like they'd be something I'd be interested in or be fulfilling to me. But this seems like every single day, whenever I wake up tomorrow, I'm making the call on shots that are going to affect my career. And if I tell somebody no about something, it's because I believe it's going to have a certain effect on my career, whether it's positive, negative. You know, I I can't say, but generally speaking, every decision I make now is weighed upon my career and where my future is going to go from there, not whether I'm going to wake up in the morning and make my boss happy at work, or be a good boss for the people that are under me. You know what I mean? Or make it on time, or have to figure out if I'm going to call in sick. You know what I mean? It's life with meaning.
Yeah, and you're you have your own destiny. Like you're in charge of your own shit.
Yeah, dude.
And it's great. I agree, man. It's so freeing, man. I mean, yeah, would I like to have insurance? Would I like to have fucking benefits? 401k and
yep.
I mean, yeah, that would be.
But I think that's the
great.
thing, man, is living on that edge. It kind of pushes you towards those goals. You know what I mean? It pushes you towards the ability to be like, okay, I want to get to the point where I'm in a state of stasis and I'm really happy with what that is, as opposed to just chasing that never-ending ladder that you were on the other end of things. You know what I mean?
For me, it's like now my life, the things I'm thinking about are just important, right? Like, so like I think about my girl a lot. Like I think about her a lot. She monopolizes a lot of my brain, right?
Not your girl, my girl. I get it.
Yeah, my girl, your girl. No, not your girl, my girl.
Yeah, I think about mine. You think about
okay, cool. We're on the same page. Yeah. It's that occupies my time, and my kids like thinking about Brody playing baseball. Gavin not so much more because he's a grown man now. I mean, I still think about him a lot, but like more about Brody's safety but like positive things, like my kid's playing baseball, he's playing football, he's playing. He just got like first or second chair or something in band, and like he's kicking ass.
Should probably figure that out.
And then the other thing is music, right? But like music for me is not just something I can do. It's not just something I'm good at. It's not just something I'm doing to make other people happy or to get this product out. That's not what it is for me. My career, I eat, sleep, and breathe this shit. Music, like when I'm in the fucking shower, right? I got melodies in my head.
Yeah.
If I'm not actively doing something, and even like if I'm having a conversation, like right now I don't. Right now I'm just talking, right? But if I'm not talking, there's melodies in my head. No matter what I'm doing, I could be doing the deed, and there's melodies in my head. I'm not saying I'm not thinking about who I'm with. I'm just saying it's almost musical in my brain all of the time.
Well, dude, I've heard people that are writing describe it like, when the train's pulling up to the station. So like that ability to come up with lyrics on demand when you're writing. But I felt like it was important, like in my head, to look at it from, oh, I get that. But you got to understand, for me, it's like there's 25 tracks back there that maybe the train's not pulling right up here, but all those trains are still coming through all the time. You know what I mean? I can hear them. See, whatever analogy you want to use, it's like that's, sometimes that's the reason why songwriting goes well, or the reason why things click really well, because you don't have to like take time to figure out what's going on to stimulate the muse. It's like, man, how do you shut it off? Like, how do you get it to shut up?
I can't.
Like, and us talking to people who are like, I got to take time to do X, Y, and Z to get into that sort of frame to be able to do stuff. And
have you had that relationship with music your whole life?
I really do feel like it, man. And I didn't know how to channel it or what it was. So a lot of the time, what I would end up doing is just making up lyrics to existing songs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That sort of
I made a whole fucking career out of it.
Yeah. You get it.
I did it for a long time.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I can just, as far back as I can remember, my mom, after my mom died, I found my baby book. I have it somewhere. You know what a baby book is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I found my baby book. I was the middle child. So like my younger brother had his completely filled out, like all the way to fucking 12th grade. Yeah. And then mine, it started getting filled out. I was born, but when I turned 3 years old, it just fucking, that was it. And then my little brother was born, and then so it's like only the first 3 years. But like my mom said that I had this little guitar that I carried around everywhere with me, everywhere I went. And then I was humming and I was dancing. And I remember family reunions growing up, I would DJ the family reunion. I would have like a two tape deck over there, just DJing and playing all this music. And I always had to like music has just been such a huge part of my life. I always had to like show people new stuff and be like, we'd have a party and I'd be the one that's switching CDs and, you know, I don't know, man. It's always had this huge impact on me. And I think I've always heard everything in tones and in bridges and in, right? And so my whole life, like, I don't know, man, like my life's in my head, it's a musical, if that makes sense.
Well, sort of. I've heard some interesting theories on things recently where music is concerned in particular. Like, and if you think about stuff where life is concerned, like you have what are considered your five senses, right? All of them. But in a certain sense, whenever from what I understand, there are more senses from a scientific perspective. I don't exactly know what they are or how to describe them. But for me, the way that
I'm pretty sure we're reaching one right now.
Yeah, probably so. But whenever you have those sort of senses that all come together at the same time, so you have your sense of hearing, right? But you can also feel the music, right? An important thing for me it shows is to be able to feel my voice, feel my vocal, like the actual frequency, harmonization coming through and vibrating inside of me so I can hear it. And that's sort of how I keep my tone together.
Yeah.
But I feel like whenever you get all of that stuff together, like music is one of those things where as an audience member and as a performer together, you really are touching on the edge of something extremely unique.
Yeah.
Like I had a video I saw the other day where they were using these bubbles to send frequencies, like speakers facing different directions into bubbles and then kind of shining a light through them. And as it went, they were creating helixes that we've only hypothesized you could see in the fourth dimension. But it's something about the music. It's something about that ability to hold those things. And it was a scientific experiment, of course, to see how frequencies could move things. But to me, that it all of a sudden starts to make sense, right? It's like music isn't just, there are people out there who treat it as such. It's just entertainment. It's just a job. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then there's people out there who understand, well, and I don't mean to get too preachy on that into things, but there's that side of things where your job isn't just to be up there singing a song. Like you have a responsibility, you know what I mean, to the music. And whenever you feel it that way, like occasionally something special happens.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I've had those things. I mean, I've gone to church many nights on stage, bro.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, this right here is what it's all fucking about, man. It's like just the whole universe is in perfect sync. And I'm the fucking center of it for this 1 second, like this 3 minutes, you know, or whatever, 8 minutes, however long it lasts. It usually doesn't jump from song to song. It's usually just in the middle of one particular thing.
Yeah, it's like how athletes sometimes describe being in the zone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I like to feel like the only reason or the only way it works for me is if everybody else that's there with me is there too, because there's a real necessity for that energy to be there. You know?
I also think in order for you to reach that level of that, you have to really know the song. And I think that's a lot. You watch people like Jack Black, right? Or you watch, or Jack White, either one. Or you watch people like Adele. When you watch them, they are 100% into what they're doing. Their entire body, their entire being. Tyler Childers is another one. You can tell his entire fucking being is in that moment, is what's going on right there, that performance, that delivery, right? Mm-hmm. That is how important I think performance is. And you can tell the difference between somebody playing a song and somebody performing a song. And I say that all the time, and people fucking get mad at me about it, especially in the cover industry. I just don't care.
Well, dude, you said something like that to me, and I don't know if mad about it would be the right thing. I didn't at first know what you meant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I didn't understand what you meant.
But that's I was going to say that earlier about the drugs situation, right?
Yeah.
Like the people that want to argue with you the most about something are the ones that know the least about what they're arguing about. And it's like that's a prime example, you know. If I say the words, you cannot truly perform a song if you're reading the lyrics off a phone or an iPad. if I say that out loud, if you've never felt what it's like to be in total fucking synchronicity with the stage, the song, everything, then you don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And you can't. You're going to automatically be like, fuck you, dude. I'm playing the song just fine. Right?
Yeah. I get exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. But that's where that's the difference between guys like you, okay, and other guys. You are what I consider a sponge, okay? You find people that are already doing what you want to do successfully and that you can vibe with, right? And then you soak up as much fucking information, as much knowledge, as much love, as much energy, right, as you can from that person, those people, that group, right? And so if I come to you and I say, Orion, stop reading fucking lyrics off your phone, right? You're not going to immediately come back and be like, what does this fat fucking bald motherfucker know, right? You're going to immediately be like, maybe he's got something to say about that.
Yeah.
And so I think that's an important part of our growth as artists or as human beings, is putting ourselves in situations where we don't know. But if every fucking time somebody says this and you're fucking the first reaction out of your butt, those are the ones that don't grow. And those are the ones that become the two people I was talking about earlier.
Well, man, I guess for me, that's the part that's always been so weird whenever people are like, you know, who the fuck does he think he is? Who the fuck does Orion think he is? Because like I don't mean to sound too arrogant, but I think I do exude an air of, I know who Orion is.
Yeah.
I don't know who anybody else is or what else is going on in the world, but I definitely know who Orion is, right? But I also know that it's not only my capability that I play with, but it's the people that I call friends, and it's their respect that I carry into situations with me. You know what I mean? So I may be a little bit of a loose cannon in certain situations, but I also know very much that, like, for me, man, I'm very proud of where I'm at and how quickly I've come along, and I feel there might be some of my talent, my capability that's there for it, but I think a lot of it, maybe most of it, is to the people who are extremely talented that I've considered who are friends, who've cared enough to say along the way, hey man, you're trying really hard at this, but try this instead of this, or do it this way instead of this. And me being like, oh.
And then trying it.
Yeah. I mean, they're not just speaking idly for no reason.
And sometimes it doesn't work.
Yeah,
like
man.
Sometimes you try it and it just doesn't work for you.
Well, and yeah, sometimes
and
that way doesn't work for me, but it's like, oh, that's constructive criticism. Maybe I should look at what I was doing there.
Yeah.
And kind of analyze it and figure out a different way to do it, because that doesn't seem to be working from the normal perspective, you know?
Yeah. You seem to be the kind of person that takes self-inventory, like inventory of yourself quite often.
So is mushrooms, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, I do too. I not because of mushrooms, but I don't know, man. I always look inwards first. Always. Inwards, is that a word? I always look inward, not inwards.
Well, I've come
inwards.
Okay, so
what? Did I just get racist on here? Inwards. Inwards. Outwards. Fuck. We're fucked, dude. We're canceled.
Just kick the S off. It's
no,
inward.
Look inward.
Yeah.
Right. Like I feel like I look inward quite often and think, you know, am I doing this right? Did I react to this right? Or am I the fucking asshole here? You know, but here, if I am, I'll say, like, I'm sorry. Like, my bad. I was wrong. I don't know. You know?
It's actually nice, though, to be able to look at things that you used to carry as just overwhelming guilt and be like, what's going on here? What don't I like about this, man? What can I change about it? Because I can. It's me.
Yeah.
This is all me.
Yeah, you are 100%. You may not be in control of where you are in your life for various reasons, but you can definitely be in control of how you perceive yourself in the world that you're in.
And you can definitely make moves and take the opportunity to change.
But I think that's like one of those things about being self-aware and realistic and taking self-inventory of yourself, right?
Well, if I'm gonna be arrogant about anything, dude, the thing I'm the most proud of in my life is that it's true. If it's a dream that you have, it's truly not too late. Live that thing to the extent that you can. Be realistic. Realize if I wanted to be an Olympic diver when I was 25 and I'm 60 years old, I'm probably not going to be able to do it, right?
Not
You
at
know what I
Olympic
mean?
level.
But find a way to go get in a swimming pool a little more often. Obviously, you need, you know what I mean? Like just,
Yeah. Yeah. Do it. Yeah. It's frustrating. The way I always equate it to like the Matrix. Like the way I look at the planet right now is that everyone else has no fucking clue that they're in the Matrix. Like they have no clue that they're a slave to society and a slave to what's going on.
suckers.
And then here I am, like I completely fucking get it. I know, and I figured
You've been
out
red pilled.
yeah, red pilled, and I figured out a way to not be a slave to that, to make my own way, to make music and make art and pull something out of thin air and make it something. Like I feel like everyone has the ability to do that. They just don't because they're just stuck in the fucking Matrix.
Well, the crazy thing is, dude,
I did not do shrooms, by the way. I'm not even kidding.
Me either. I think the crazy part for me is, man, I feel like I always felt before like that living that lifestyle had a sense of security to it. You know?
For sure.
You know what I mean? I felt like it did. And the truth of the matter was it didn't have much.
It doesn't have what's perceived.
It didn't have very much to it. You know what I mean? And
we're about to
giving up
see that.
all of that happiness, all of that sense of purpose, actually living a life worth living, giving all of that up for that perceived sense of safety that was never really there.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But I also feel like guys like us we're more prepped for the end than the average person that is in that situation where they think there's a safety net. You know what I mean? Like me, I'm like, I could fucking die tomorrow and be like I'm not scared of it. You know? I mean, I don't want to die, but like.
Oh, see, man, I feel like I want to leave a little bit more here than that, but I do feel like
I'm just talking about like I'm secure enough I've lived a great life. I haven't lost all of my life in a fucking cubicle cell.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I feel like at this point man, the truth of the matter is even that life that I lived back then, I was wanting and searching so hard for something that mattered. I lived a lot of fun back then. You know what I mean? I lived a fun life, but it was that's what I did was I traded the hours for the dimes, and then I traded the dimes on the small occasions that I got to go have that fun that I wanted to have and be the real person I wanted to be. And it's like, man, I didn't have to save. I didn't have to torture myself all that time. I didn't have to go through things that ultimately didn't matter, because at the end of the day, those 10 years, 13 years that I spent doing that, nobody remembers any of that with any sense of, wow, that was really,
right.
That was really, you know?
That's the crazy thing. That's why you need to get some music put out, bro. You got to get some music released. You know, that's one of those things. When you release your first song and it's out there on the fucking world, you get this sense of no matter what happens, there's a piece of me that is going to be on this planet for eternity. As long as human beings are, listening to music. Like, it's there. I mean, people may not be listening to it, but it's there.
Yeah, man.
Something out of fucking thin air, something that can't be destroyed, something that was an idea, and I turned it into an actual thing and put it out in the universe.
A very important piece of me, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Every one of my songs are a important piece. Even the dumb ones are a very important piece of me.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. And so, I don't know, man. I just don't know how the normal people cope. And I don't know how they, like, if you're not a songwriter, if you're not an artist, I don't even know how you deal with life.
I know how I did, but it was massive amounts of.
We got to pause again.
Oh.
This is the first time I've paused in a podcast. But I got to piss. Oh, we're an hour and a half in, bro.
Maddox.
And we are back. Sorry, I had to pee. I didn't pee the first time. I should have peed the first. I should plan that a little better.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Working the bugs out.
Okay, so real talk. Let's talk real talk.
Yeah.
You have original music.
Yeah.
I've heard it.
Good amount.
I've heard it. Some of it's good. Some of it's okay.
Yeah. Man, the thing is, I'm at the point where I think I know. I think I know the difference.
Oh yeah, I'm just kidding. I've heard some of it, and I've heard some recordings of some of it, and you're not. I don't know where you are on releasing them, but when are we going to expect to hear the first Orion release?
Man, I think I got to get it out. Being completely honest, I got to get it out before the end of this year. And
Do you know what the song is?
It's got to be Gone. Yeah.
You think?
Yeah. I think Gone's the best song to introduce the world with. The problem is I have an opportunity to have somebody else to throw some extra stuff on it, and I want to take that opportunity.
Yeah.
But it's got to wait. People are in different parts of the world. You know what I mean? Doing.
You have
different
one
things.
song, I can't remember the hook of it, but it's got a really good fucking hook. And when I hear you play that, I immediately think, man, like this song. What are your songs?
Gone.
Not that one. I mean, that's a good.
One?
No, that's a good one.
Really?
But there's another one.
I guess we'll never know that
No.
one. Jeez, dude.
What are your songs?
Well, there's
And you repeat the chorus. Like you pretty much say the same thing in the chorus.
yeah. Most of the time, there's Mambo, which is that one that's the lay your loving on me.
That one.
Yeah,
One.
dude.
That song, dude. So yeah, lay your loving on me.
Yes, sir.
That one. See?
Yeah.
See, look at that.
Yes,
This
sir.
guy does not even have music released, and I fucking know his shit. No, I think that song. I think you should let me produce that song.
I think it's gonna be a really good one, man.
I think you should let Jeff Canada produce that song.
Mambo, yeah, dude, I'm down with that.
I think you should let me produce
I
it.
wrote that with Powell Brothers and Jason Allen, by the way.
Yeah, dude, to Jason Allen and Powell Brothers. Holy shit, that's some talent, man.
Shout out.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody with as smooth a voice as the Powell Brothers.
Oh,
It's just
man.
fucking smooth.
Yeah, dude.
Like it's.
I like Taylor. I like Taylor's voice a whole lot.
It's
Man,
just smooth.
truth of the matter is, I've gotten to hang out with Blake 10 times as much as I've gotten to hang out with Taylor. But
Really, I've never met him personally, but we've talked a little bit on social media.
yeah, man.
I know
and
they
their
really-
harmonies together are just
Yeah, and I think
gorgeous.
that's what I'm talking about. It's just smooth, man.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming they're brothers, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I know Mike Ned, the guy that does all my guitar work. He does all their stuff, and he talks about highly about them. And I mean, of course, I know their music. I have their stuff on some playlists of mine. And Peyton Howie also talked very highly of them, and you talk very highly of them. And so
Talk very highly of Peyton Howie.
yeah, so those are three people that talk very highly of them. And so I guess I need to make a point to hang out with them.
Yes, sir.
And Jason, what's really funny about Jason Allen is I've been trying to meet Jason for ever since I met Jody for the first time, Jody Booth, and it hasn't worked out, right? And I didn't meet him, and I didn't meet him, and I didn't meet him. Part of it's my fault because I'm not as like you'll fucking just go out and start hanging out with anybody.
Yeah,
you don't give a
it's
fuck,
all good
and I will do that, but I'm just not. I don't
Act
know.
like you've been there.
Yeah, I'm just saying you have a little more freedom, is what I'm saying, to go out and
Oh, yeah.
network and
That's
hang out with
absolutely
these
true,
folks
yeah.
than I do. And so, time, not freedom. I have all the freedom. I can do it if I want to. It's time. But Jason Allen, man, I wanted to meet him, and it just never worked out. And then this last year at the T3R Awards, I finally met him in person for the first time, dude. And we hung out all fucking night. And his wife is so badass.
Yeah, dude.
And man, he's just a funny dude. He's funny. He's talented. He can pick the guitar. He can sing. Like, he can write. I mean, man, that guy, he's unbelievable. So I think we're gonna start actually
And
doing
he's
some work
just bigger
together.
than life, too,
Yeah,
man.
dude.
He's just so much. He's just so much fun to be around. Always positive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I haven't really caught even a negative half second from him. You know what I mean? He's
Yeah.
just guys. Great
And it's
guy to be
hard
around.
to be in this industry for as long as he has, as long as I have, and not. I mean,
Holy moly, guacamole.
yeah. You run into so many walls, man, and before you start to get a little jaded about shit, But I feel that I feel like something switched over the last probably year where I'm definitely a lot more positive than what I was beforehand. I mean, I got the bigger than life part down. I've got the Jeff Canada's a fucking hoot thing down. Like, that's the thing. But I think I did focus a lot on the negative before, like a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, maybe even a little bit longer than that. But I feel like at least for the last year, I've been way more positive and way more focused on the right things. And I think that's probably why I've seen the jump in my career I have.
It's hard not to listen, man. It's hard not to listen. You know what I mean? It's hard not to. I know plenty of people say, "Oh, dude, you're never as good as they say you are, and you're never as bad as they say you are." Just keep your head down, keep doing your thing. But man, whenever the words start to come in, I find the things that hit the hardest are whenever there are people that you trust coming in from somewhere and catching you in a situation that you don't expect, sort of giving you that, maybe not the big time you with the who does he think he is, you know what I mean? But sort of the, like, yeah, maybe that's exactly what it is. Cause it's happened a couple times with me too. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't really feel like that's coming from a place of advice. I feel like that's coming from a place of more like, you knew I used to be your understudy, I guess. That's how you saw me. And now that I'm kind of, you know, doing a little bit better, it's no longer encouragement. It's who does he think he is? Like, he still needs to know his place, you know?
Yeah, and what's that place? That's the part that fucking makes me angry. Let's just talk about this whole Oliver Anthony guy, right?
Okay.
This Oliver Anthony guy
Yep.
puts a video. He's been putting out music for a while. It's not like this is his first song, but he puts out a video, and it's very, very impactful. Like when you watch the performance, you just watched it for the first time before this podcast. He is performing that song, right?
Yeah.
You can, when you're watching him do it, you can tell that 100% of his soul and his being is going into that performance right there.
Yeah.
Okay. But, and the guy, and it just took fire.
Well, it seems like the guy doesn't know any other way to do it.
I'm not talking about that, right? I'm not talking about anything about him.
Okay.
Like, he's doing his thing. I agree. That's just what he is, right? He knows who he is as an artist. Like, I know who I am as an artist. Like, Tyler Childers knows who he is as an artist. Like, Zach Bryan knows who he is as an artist. And it comes very, very clear in our art, right? That part is that part. But let's talk about the rise, okay? He put this video out on TikTok, and for some reason it jumped over to Twitter, and it went viral and went super, super viral. And I think a lot of it is not just the passion and how good the song sounds. I think a lot of it is the message behind the song.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's, you know, right now, we talked about this earlier, where we just feel like the middle 80% of America is just getting fucking trampled on by all the special interests and by the government.
Yeah.
And so I think it really hit.
Yeah, I feel like the posturing by the that 1%, man, is really hitting a lot of the 80%.
Yeah. I just think that we're it's affecting us now, and we're worried about it. And so stuff like that's gonna go to the top, much like the Jason Aldean thing went to the top. It really has nothing to do with the other side. It has to do with the middle, like us, 80%, us, the silent majority, being, you know, we don't have anybody talking for us, right? And this guy released this song. He blows the fuck up. All right. Since this has happened, the left is, of course, attacking him because he's attacking the welfare state, right? He's talking about the people that are abusing welfare. He's not talking about the people that need it. He's talking about the people that are abusing it. And you can tell that's why he used the hyperbole of 300 pounds and 5'3", right? He's not talking about just the mom who lost the dad, who now has to feed her 4 kids, who needs to go down and get food stamps. Yeah. That's not who he's talking about.
Yeah.
He's talking about these motherfuckers that are on every government assistance there is, but they're driving, you know, $60,000 cars, right? And they got 300-inch TVs on there, and you know what I mean. That's who he's talking about. People obese. That.
Well, and not only physically fat, but just fat off of
Yeah. But to use the hyperbole of 5'3", 300 pounds. I mean, how many people do you see that are 5'3", 300 pounds? Like that's hyperbole, and he used that to describe the people that are abusing the welfare system. And he's also talking about the top and the bottom. He's not just talking about the poor. He's talking about the fat cats. You know, that's who the top 1%, top 2%. He's talking about those people as well. So, like I said, he blew up. Well, dude, on Twitter today and yesterday, bro, the amount of fucking artists, musicians, songwriters that do this are just fucking bashing him, talking about how he fucking shits on poor people and how he really needs to focus on this and focus on that, how he's an industry plant. Like all of this negative shit about this guy because he figured it out. He put a video out of him raw, not snap tracks, not click tracks, not fucking 17 harmonies, and not all this production, just a man, his guitar in the fucking woods, screaming about the shit that is bothering the majority of this country. That's what, and he hit it. He hit the nail on the fucking head. But he performed that song all these other guys that are bitching and moaning and complaining about him being a plant, like, it just comes off as fucking jealousy, man.
But the terrible part is, man, that's almost the part of the engine where it's like they're trying to then say the next most relevant thing to catch a part of that fire that he's got going on for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Be that one celebrity that, oh, did you hear what so-and-so said in response to the Oliver Anthony song? You know what I mean? Shit like that, dude. I'm with you from the perspective of, okay, if one person says it, what does it matter if a whole echo chamber of people say it from that point too? And what does your vitriol matter too, where this is concerned? We're supposed to be, you know, kind of a community of artists. What are you jealous of? What have you not said? What have you not done in your career? Have you never done anything to make that happen?
Where I was going with that was like you, right? Like mine and your relationship. You know, for our career up until this point, I've been considered higher.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I feel about that shit.
Word.
But I'm on the next rung or a few rungs up on the fucking ladder than you are.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense to me. Yeah.
But if you were tomorrow to put out a song like this and go viral, and you're now getting 6,000 people to show up to your fucking show in Podunk fucking wherever, right?
Whatever that was.
Do you think that I'm going to like just shit on you for doing that? Like,
no, but man, the truth of the matter is some will.
Right, some will.
And it's okay, because it's like those venues, like we were talking about earlier in the podcast, man.
Out.
It'll work itself out, man. And more importantly, those ties will be stronger. You know what I mean? Those ones that help me weather those storms, those ones that help you weather those storms, those ties will be just that much stronger.
But that's probably because we know each other versus, like, that's the one thing that is going to be kind of the theme of this show, right? Is conversation. Conversation and respect. Okay, I'm gonna have people that are sitting in that chair right there that I disagree with. I'm gonna have people sit in that chair that I know for a fact that some of the people that watch this thing are going to disagree with.
Yeah.
Right. But what I want to do is I want to communicate and I want to get to know the person I'm talking to.
Yeah.
Like, not as like, I'm not gonna sit here and ask you how old you were when you started playing your guitar. I want to know who you are as a person, right? And not necessarily you, because I do, but like who I get in this chair in the future.
One of those things that you get from them when it's not how old you are when you play the guitar, like what matters, you know?
But the thing is, man, and this, I've said this on a couple podcasts up to now, and I don't know if I coined this phrase, but I think it's a great phrase. But without communication, there's no gateway for respect. Without conversation, there's no gateway for respect. And so, and I truly believe that. And so I think that if you know, like, let's just take Tyler Childers and Jason Aldean, that fucking fiasco, right? Or Jason Isbell and Jason Aldean, right? Obviously, Jason Isbell disagrees with the way Jason Aldean thinks about things, right? And now they got this fucking beef or whatever. That, I don't think that beef would have happened had those two individuals known each other and had already, through conversation, built a level of mutual respect on their beliefs. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I don't think that would happen. So what I want to do, and what I think we need to do not just here, as a society, is just start having more conversations. Like, start having more legit conversations, especially with people that are different than you. Different color, different height, different sex, different religion. Like, I think that's what we need. I think that's the biggest thing we're missing right now in society. And I'm not talking about a conversation on Twitter where you got to do it in, I don't know how many characters. I'm talking about like a legit phone call, right?
I don't even have a Twitter.
Yeah. Well, that's probably why nobody knows who you are.
I don't have a
Just kidding.
I need to get that shit.
I know who you are.
Thanks, Doug.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I do.
I think we need more communication. I think if we can do that, then we can fix a lot of this fucking division and a lot of this hatred.
It comes from a place of, like, I don't think either one of those guys really want to listen to the other side.
Oh,
right?
for sure, right.
They're at the point where it's holding up the shield and holding up the banner for the side of the conversation that they have to hold up now, right? You have to be willing to sit down and have the conversation. But man, how it can be so educational, even from the perspective of I didn't leave that conversation having changed any of my perspective on things, but I really became educated on how other people view it, on how other people view the world, and how other people.
Yeah. And now I can understand. I can at least understand why you feel the way you feel.
Yeah, man.
I may not understand it. Like I may not get it, but I understand where you're coming from.
There are very few things in my life that I'm so hard-headed about that, like, it's just there's one way that's going to be it. You know what I mean?
100%.
But I feel like being those kind of dudes, like it's like, mess with my woman, that's kind of into the road sort of thing. Like, come in and try to, it's going to sound weird, but try to mess with my spirituality sort of thing. Like those sort of things. I know the law stands how the law stands, you know what I mean? But I very much do feel it's important for people to understand. Even the former governor of the state of Texas, the last governor of the state of Texas, he was trying really, really hard to get psilocybin pushed through the state legislature solely for PTSD, just because of the clinical benefits that we've seen from that.
Yeah.
There have been studies that have been done by, I believe it's both MIT and Stanford with Paul Stamets, where they were talking about like microdosing, how it can actually potentially stimulate regrowth of neurological pathways in your brain. I've never heard of anything that stimulates growth in your brain, right? Once you kill the brain cells, they're done. They're done. Nothing else happens. So really, from the standpoint of view of at what point in time are you responsible for your beliefs and your spirituality and what you put inside your body and how you approach who you are as a person, and taking personal inventory and finding out how you can be a better person throughout the day. You know what I mean? I think all of those kind of things lead to a willingness to say, no, I'm not necessarily going to change my point of view, but it lets you see things from the perspective of, man, they're just another human, just like me, you know what I mean? And I may not agree with everything they have to say. First off, I don't know that they have the power to wreck my entire life and psyche and well-being and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like that's what they're here for.
But it also could be to plant that seed, right? So let's say you have your mind made up on something, right? I have my mind made up on something.
Yep.
And then that's something you and I disagree on. Okay. And we sit down and we have a conversation about it. Right. And you leave that conversation thinking, no, I didn't change my mind. Right. I didn't change my mind, but I listened to what you said and I can kind of understand why you feel that way. Right. And then you leave and then something fucking happens in your real world. Right. And you're like, huh. And then something else happens, like, huh? And then that could possibly change the way you view things, right? And then you're more like, well, fuck, Jeff was right, or now I definitely can understand where Jeff was coming from.
I can see it from his perspective.
But if you don't have that conversation, if that conversation never happens, you're going to be stuck believing what you believe, no matter what, until something happens for you not to believe it. And that's the biggest thing I want to come from this podcast. Like I said, I probably get like 2 listeners, maybe. I don't even fucking know. But I don't really care, to be honest with you. I don't give a shit if 10,000 people listen or 1 person listens, you know. But the biggest thing is I want it to be conversation is the gateway for respect, right? You have to. And then what can we get from those conversations that will get us to become better people and understanding others better? And that's one of the main reasons I'm seeing. I want to become a better conversationalist. The Jeff Canada before this podcast, even episode 1, 2, even before today, even today, the Jeff Canada that I know, when someone's talking, I'm listening, but I'm already planning my response and I already know what I'm going to say before you even stop talking, right? So am I really fully listening to what you're saying? And so part of the reason I'm starting this is because I want to become a better listener and a better person in conversation, right? And I think that's really going to help me. It's already helped me out just in the 6th or 5th or how many ever we've done. I've already gotten to the point where I'm like, I'm actually listening and engaging more than what I did my first one with Dalton. You know what I mean? And I want to get better with that. And I just want more conversation and more communication and fucking yelling and less yelling and less fighting.
Yes, Lily.
Yes, lelling and less fighting. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
That's what I want.
It makes sense to me, man.
And if I can do that for a small group of people, and somebody starts thinking about things, and listen, I do want to say this: if you listen to this podcast and something I say offends you, you know, let me know, right? Reach out to me.
I like that.
And let's have a conversation about it.
There you
Now,
go.
don't reach out to me calling me a fucking, atheist fucking shitbag.
Well, hang on, dude. Let's address that, though.
No, just real quick. I'm saying if you reach out to me, don't reach out to me. Like, reach out to me as you want to have a conversation with me about my stance or about the way I feel about things. And I promise you, no matter who you are, I will sit down and have a conversation with you. And we can talk about it. If you want to talk about it, if you want to preach to me, or if you want to just try to get me to see if it's one of those things, you're trying to convert me or some shit like that, don't reach out to me. But if you want to have a conversation, because I will listen to anybody, no matter what it's about, I will have a conversation with anybody. And I can find common ground with anybody. Okay, go ahead about atheism.
No. It's not about atheism, dude. I was going to echo that point, kind of like, at what point in time did it become okay for like there just to not be civil conversation? I mean, one of my favorite points in time in my life, I'm not trying to big time anybody out there or anything, but like when I was going through college, I talked about earlier, like how I hopped on the dean's list. Dude, I was a C student in high school. Yeah. I wasn't anybody. I didn't think I was a very intelligent individual. It wasn't until, number one, started smoking weed, in my personal opinion, but number two, actually had stuff to pay attention to that mattered. And used to be in like the classes that I was in, political science classes, right around 2000, 2001. It was kind of like the professor was the referee, and we got to have conversations in class about stuff pretty openly from as many different perspectives as we wanted. And you may not agree with everybody, but it was always civil. It was, you hear that person out, and then there's an order to sort of how, people respond as they went back and forth. But it was never you're not allowed to say those things. Here are a list of words that you're not allowed to say because you are X, Y, and Z. And it's like, how do you even know if I'm X, Y, and Z, number one? Like there was none of that. There was none of the ordering, you know what I mean? It's just everybody be civil in how you're explaining your side of the conversation. Because if all you want to do is come in and attack somebody, then you're not coming there to have conversation in the first place. And
Right.
there's no real fight. Yeah, there's no real point in this because I don't, I'm probably at the point where I don't just want to have a fight with somebody randomly about some random subject.
Yeah. That's the way I am, for sure. I need to get there's a few things that I really need to work on. And I think that tact is one of those. I think that I need to be better about
you and me both, brother.
About the way I approach people, or I feel like I talk over people sometimes. And I'm a big guy and I'm loud, and you know what I mean? And I don't want to do that. I want to like really, really, really listen and really find out what you're about. And I want to know why you think this, why you believe that. But what I want you also to do is I want you to understand or listen. I don't care if you understand. Listen to me while I tell you why I believe the other way. Listen. And I think a big difference between me and a lot of people is I'm not trying to convert anyone, right? I'm not trying to, when I come up to somebody and say, hey, Orion, learn the fucking song. Stop reading your fucking words off of cell phone, right? Or whatever. I'm not really going to you thinking, hey, you need to fucking do this. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to part some wisdom, some stuff that I learned,
constructive criticism,
onto someone who I view obviously in a high regard. If it was somebody that I didn't think was worth the effort, I wouldn't put the effort of having that conversation with. And so
you gotta, but man, I've been like, I don't want to toot my own horn too much, but I was lucky enough to get people who were experienced enough early enough on that I saw results real quick, and it was like, oh shit, just shut up and listen.
Yeah, shut up and listen. Yeah, and it's hard for me, man, especially when it comes to like producing songs, and I'm in the it's very hard to me. It's very hard for me to listen to someone else when they say, hey, try to phrase this a little different, or try to hold this note out, or I'm like, fuck you, no.
Yeah.
But then I'll do it. I'm like, oh man, that sounds better. So I'm getting better about not fighting that as much as I used to.
Well, and like that little example, it may be hard right there on the spot while you're in the studio to come up with a little bit different phrasing that's different. You know what I mean? But in the future, anytime you write a song, you may now be thinking about phrasing significantly more than you did before. You know
Right.
what I mean? A huge learning moment. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Huge learning moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. I think it's just finding people. What sucks is the higher up the ladder you get, the harder it is to find people that truly know more than you do, if that makes sense. I mean, I know there's always people that know more than you do, especially about certain things, but it's like who does Garth Brooks, like who does he go to
Well, man, so for me, like that's why it's great to have guys like Jody around. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's just at the time I think I'm getting good at one piece. You know what I mean? Like here's a guy who can pick up 11 different stringed instrument, if there's even that amount. I don't know, play the piano, or like the guy just
he's
can
stupid.
play so many things and do so many things well that like I take comfort in the fact that if I'm doing things right, I'm probably always going to be the least talented musician on stage. You know what I mean?
I'm the same way.
Yeah, and that means something to me from the perspective of then being able to lean on those people and trust their expertise. But from there, it's kind of nice whenever it starts to work out, man, and you can see something building together to be something beyond just going through the motion, something that's really pretty. You know what I mean? Something that matters, something that's going to make a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the unsaid part about the real success is it's kind of those people that take the job seriously, and you get enough of those people together doing it simultaneously, doing it enough times that whenever chance comes along and gives you the opportunity, you're there and polished and ready to go.
Right.
It's not that anybody's guaranteed an opportunity at any point in time. You just got to be ready
When
for
it
whenever
happens.
it does happen. Yeah, you can't. That can't be the day that you're drunk in the trailer whenever the guy's coming to say the thing. You know.
Well, that's why. I mean, that right there, what you just said, is the exact reason why I quit drinking. It has nothing to do with recovery. It has nothing to do with I had a drinking problem. It had nothing to do with that. It had to do with, okay, on one of these random nights when I decide to go out and get fucked up, who's in the crowd? B, who's going to call me the next morning and be like, hey, we got it, right? I'm fucking cock pissed, drunk, hungover, and I don't wake up till 2:00 in the afternoon, and I missed a phone call at 10 a.m. that is asking me if I want to open up for Cody Jinks. You know what I mean? Like that's why I quit drinking.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I quit drinking. And so that's why every now and then I'll have a beer, or I'll have a margarita, or I'll have a drink.
Yep.
Every now and then. And when I say every now and then, I'm talking I've had like 6 or 7 in the last 500 something days, like total, you know? And so because I don't want to let any opportunity pass me by because of something I was stupid.
Yeah.
You know?
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, that's
to
why
me,
I
man.
quit drinking. So exactly what you just said is exactly like, that's why I changed that whole thing about me. You know, I'm not, everybody asks me all the time, do you feel like your show suffered when you quit drinking? And my answer every time is no, not at all. Because my drinking was not what was creating my show.
Well, dude, some of the folks that I get that I've gotten pretty inebriated with, right? And gotten pretty inebriated with and played shows that kind of were just, throwaway shows. Hey, put a few guys together. I need 3 guys for 3 hours kind of thing tonight. You know what I mean? Not a bring your band out, we're going to promote it sort of thing. Had just sort of shows like that where we drank a little bit more than we should, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Drank a lot more than we should, sort of like we do, you know what I mean? But those same guys, whenever they get up on stage with their band to go play a show, you know what I mean? The rule is like day of, there's no drinking at all up to showtime. Whenever you get on stage, like have a shot together to just sort of prep the show, you know what I mean? Because it's just tradition that we do that. And then go play the show and drink your bottle of water and maybe your beverage during the show. But you're here to work, man.
Yeah.
You're here to work. You know what I mean? And it's not that, no, after you get done with work, after the show's over, you can't go party and have a good time. Yeah, man. That's what it's all about. It's just about having the discipline between the two. You know what I mean?
Handle your high.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and I mean, from their perspective and from my perspective, you got to play how you practice. You got to practice how you play.
Yeah.
You know, that
100%.
sort of thing. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I had a guy recently was talking some shit about me to another friend of mine, and he was like, "Yeah, man, Jeff Canada's a fucking drunk, and that dude shows up to shows all the fucking time, fucked up." And I'm just like, I was just like, wow, I've played over 4,500 shows in my life, and I've never, not one time, ever showed up to a show drunk, not once. So, it's funny how that whole thing works.
yeah.
You know. Do you think there's any misconceptions of you out there?
Absolutely.
Yeah. What do you think is one of the big ones?
Who does he think he is, man?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a whole lot of people out there think I'm worthy of a lot more than well, it's hard to say any of those kind of things in a way that doesn't kind of feed into it a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I feel like I very much know even where my place is in the music scene and what I feel like it's important to know then what I'm striving for from there. You know what I mean? And to know what I want to do and where I want to go. And like you say, or like you were saying earlier, I think I'm not afraid to ask questions of people that I trust. It takes a little while for me to grow to the point that I trust people, but I'm not afraid to ask them, "Hey man, what are you doing that works?
Yeah.
What are you doing differently than me that works?" So that I can kind of tailor my approach to things. And I feel like 9 times out of 10, there's folks there that really care. You know what I mean? 1 time out of 10, there's folks that are like, "Why are you asking me that? You think you're good enough to do that? You think you're better than me and you're good enough to do that?"
But those people are people that view this as a competition to start with anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, to me, the way I look at that is, like, who do they think they are? It's like, that's such a, I don't know, man. Like, that's such a fucking, like, I think I'm better than him statement, right? That's the way I view it. What I view when if I hear someone say, "Who does Orion think he is?" What I'm immediately hearing, I'm not hearing anything negative about Orion. I'm immediately hearing that this cockbag thinks that he's fucking better than Orion. That's what I'm hearing, right?
In my opinion, not necessarily that I believe I'm better than anybody from that perspective, but it's like, why does it matter?
But that's my point. Why does it matter?
Yeah.
Like, why does it matter? You know how many times? So I've started those artist spotlight things, right?
Yeah.
I do those artist spotlights,
Yep.
and I don't have a rhyme or reason. I don't have a fucking list. No one's paying me to do it. No one's asking me to do it.
He's my homeboy. I haven't been on the thing.
I actually.
I'm not asking beyond, but sorry.
Oh no, I got you.
Yeah,
I just whoever I'm vibing with at that moment is who gets it, right? And so
that's what makes the most sense to me. Don't try to do it for any other purpose.
Right. It's that shit. As somebody that I just feel is putting that day or the day before or the week before is putting a certain light out in the universe that I want to fucking put a spotlight on. I don't have a huge spotlight, but if I get that person one new listener, then it's worth it for me, right? I've actually had people tell me in the industry that I need to stop doing that. I'm not fucking kidding.
I believe it.
Now, I've had a lot more reach out to me like, "Dude, what you're fucking doing is really cool." I mean, I've had some really big artists comment under that they got, that said something like, "What you're doing is really cool."
That's awesome. That is really cool, man. It is.
You know?
Man, it's hard to okay. Again, try not to ascribe to malice what is just ignorance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if the people that are saying the things are well enough intentioned, you know what I mean? Maybe there's, like you're saying, being a little bit better listener, you know what I mean, than not hearing it at all. Yeah. Maybe there's a grain of something in there somewhere where it's like, whatever it is. I can't even speculate on too much of what. The only thing I can think about is that there's somebody that they don't like, and they're like, "Oh, you shouldn't have done that." But I don't want to speculate on any of the other things. But if it is there, just look at the person, look at what they mean to you, look at their motivations. Like if it's a person that you've said hi to a couple of times, you know what I mean, that's coming in with all sorts of advice on this stuff. It's like,
yeah,
well, that's interesting. I've had 2 highs from you in my entire life. Like, what does it matter what your opinion is on?
So
all
consider
this
the
kind of
source.
Stuff, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Consider the source before you let the information.
I think that's very important, and I think that's why whenever people say, keep your circle small, I think it's not necessarily that you should just be an a-hole to everybody that doesn't completely get who you are. It's that, man, whenever you put your trust in people like that, you kind of do need to spend a little bit of time with them, get to know who they are and how they feel about things, so that whenever they're coming to you with advice, or if you're going to them with something that you trust, trying to get advice from them, you can, at least to the degree that you're comfortable, trust what they're giving you as advice coming back the other way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if you're just out there going willy-nilly with people in the world that don't really matter, trying to get advice from them and live your life out, good luck.
Yeah, you're going to make a shit ton of mistakes, too.
Good luck.
Shit ton. Like, even more mistakes than what you'd normally make.
But you and I both put our trust in the wrong people at the wrong times before and gotten burned from it. So it's still like...
100%.
It's still, it's me, mea culpa. No matter what happens, I can't. That was the biggest part of growing up that I'd done, that I've done up to this point. Is just anytime those things happen, it's like good, bad, or indifferent, man. Yeah, that thing that happened at that place happened because I did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, or this didn't go well because I did it, or I didn't do something that I needed to do, and that's me. Yeah. What makes it nice, man, is whenever those things do go right, it's like, I've worked for this so hard.
Right.
You know what I mean? I put in the effort and all those other things went wrong. And this thing, yeah.
And it's also a lot harder to focus on the negative whenever you have been doing the right things and then positive things are happening. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, man, my brain, I still focus on the negative a little too much.
Yep.
Right. I feel like I always have to have a grudge. I feel like I always have to have a villain in there's always gotta be a villain.
I get it,
and it feeds me, right? And that's stupid. It's so fucking stupid, but it's just part of the way my brain's wired, I guess. But man, like, one of the biggest things that kind of made me see things a little bit differently was the Sunday night at my release party at Do-Si-Do, right? I have this list of musicians that in my head that I know do not like me. Right. I know it. I know they don't fucking like me. I don't like them either, whatever. I know they have an issue with me. I know they're jealous of me. I know that they don't, who the fuck do, same thing you said, who the fuck does he think he is shit. But I can tell you what, man, whenever I was playing that show and I looked out and whenever I did, you were there, you opened it. And I was like, man, like, yes, I know I'm single out Peyton Riley right here. This 14-year-old fucking just insane talented person, but there was like 25 or 30 musicians in the fucking crowd that paid $20 to come in and see me play.
Yeah, dog.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
or
dog.
Me or you, or well, I mean, I'm sure the reason Wes was there was more for you than me, but he was still there. He still came in and paid $20 to play. Dude. It's like, man, I was like looking at that and I was like, hang on a sec, why am I so caught the fuck up on these 2 or 3 musicians when I got 30 of those motherfuckers right here that are here to be with me tonight?
Yep.
Like, they could have done anything else.
Not only could they have been somewhere else making money, but they gave their own money in their own time.
Yeah.
Got dressed up.
Yeah. And almost every one of them bought merch. Like, and so that's what I've got to get better about, focusing on them, focusing on the ones that matter.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so like I'll have somebody post a negative comment under one of my Facebook feed posts, and I'll interact with them. But I got 60 people that posted on there that is not negative, and I don't interact with a single fucking one of them. And so that's what I'm starting to get better now, is I'm starting to get better about liking, loving, whatever the comments, replying to the comments, trying to get better about focusing on those folks. Cause man, like, I know that I'm not famous, right? I know that I know where I am in my career. I take self-aware or inventory all the time. Right.
Yeah.
But God damn, man, there's a lot of people that fucking like me. There's a lot of people that like me.
Yeah, dude.
Right? I know there's a lot of people that hate me, and that's fine.
Yeah, whatever.
But there's a lot of people that really, really like me, man. And it's hard for me to grasp that just because of my childhood and because of me kind of being the black sheep my whole life, and me not being good enough in a lot of things, and told I'm not good enough by the people that matter. So it's really hard for me to take that positivity, right, and not see the negativity. But I'm getting better. I'm getting better every day, and I'm really working on it. Like I'm really, really working on it. You know, really reaching out and trying to be a little bit more positive to the universe.
Yeah, dude. It's weird to say it's a struggle for somebody like me, because I'm one of the most blessed people you'll ever meet. You know what I mean? Like having, not to sound too arrogant with it, but having the talent that I'm blessed with to be able to come as far as I have up to this point. There's got to be something to that. You know what I mean?
Crazy.
Got to be something to that. And the two parents that I have, my mom and my dad, still together. They're screaming up on their 50th anniversary. I think it's the year after next. I think this one's 48. But those two people just believe in me, believe in what I'm doing. You know what I mean? And man, I've got, like you mentioned Wes, like Wes Nixon, Jody Bartula, Wes Nixon more so than in any of the rest of our friends, but like you and a whole lot of folks, man, that just believe in me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is mine. This is my stuff. It's stuff that I'm writing. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to copy anything, not trying to be anything else. It's just genuinely what came out of me. Like I haven't peaked and I haven't hit all that life means as of yet. But from the flip side, I'm living a life of meaning that's worth living. You know what I mean? And it's so simple compared to what it used to be. Like I often joke with people, like I make less than 10% of what I used to make, but the number's probably right around 10, 12%. You know what I mean? On an annual basis, I make probably right around there, and don't have any of those benefits that I used to get from the insurance and all that kind of stuff. But man, I never knew that creating something myself and being this proud of making something out of essentially nothing could be something that so many people could like. Now, I wasn't waiting for my parents to be proud of me for it, but I'm so happy that they are. You know what I mean? I'm so happy that people love me and like me for it. I'm so glad that it's touching other people in the same way that it touched me whenever I wrote it in the first place. You know what I mean? Because I don't know how to write songs about idle subjects. They're about my life. You know what I mean? They're about a life that I live, you know? Sometimes they're fun. They're a little bit more fun than others because I have a lot of fun in my life. You know what I mean? But then there were some times that were a little bit harder to go through. You know what I mean? And I'm still one of the most blessed individuals that you'll ever meet from that perspective. Because my mom and my dad love me, man, a lot. And I love them a whole lot. And I'm really lucky to have that.
Yeah.
You know,
well, you are.
You know, I very much know that. But coming from the other side too, man, like I feel like it's what makes it so... It's not so easy for me. It's what helps me stay humble a lot of the time in those situations where it's like, I deserve... No, I don't. No, I don't, man. I don't deserve shit. I'm riding on the back of people who work their ass off to get me to where I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now I don't deserve. I need to work for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That doesn't mean anybody has the right to come up to me and tell me, fuck it, you know,
that you don't
you're not worth it, and
Yeah.
you don't know who you are, and you need to humble what you are, and all that kind of stuff. Because it's like, man, I never told you I was such and such in the first place.
Dude, do you know how fucking rad it was for me to be standing up on that fucking balcony at Do-Si-Do, seeing you and Mason make y'all's debut there?
Was it cool, dude?
Dude,
it felt so fucking
It
cool,
was one
man.
of those things where not only is my career getting me to the point where I'm being known and that I'm having a certain level of success, right? But now that success is starting to trickle down to other artists.
Yeah, man, help your buddies.
And I think that reward, I like, take Peyton Riley, right? I think even more than having you there or Mason there, I think me getting Peyton Riley up on that stage and her playing that fucking song the way she did,
that was pretty cool, man.
Dude, that was one of the coolest things in my career. I'm not kidding. That moment was one of the coolest things in my career. Think about that. Because I don't know, man, like, here I am, I got people to pay money to come see me play. And now I got this 14-year-old girl who I just think is fantastic, and I'm giving her the opportunity to get up and pour her soul out to these fucking strangers. and they're fucking eating it because of the stage that I set.
Yeah, dude.
Like that wouldn't have worked in a lot of other situations, right?
Not even close.
So I don't know, man. There's a lot of internal conflict that I'm having right now with this whole mentor thing, because I know I'm a lot, right? And I know I talk about smoking weed, and I know I'll say words like pussy and fucking shit. And it's like, you know, some of these parents are putting trust in me to be the proper mentor to some of these younger artists, you know? And so, and a lot of these parents I know now, you know, and I think are fantastic people.
Well, but man, there's got to be a difference between you mentoring them and showing them, not necessarily trying to give them the worst parts of the scene, but kind of easing them into how the scene really is,
yeah,
as opposed to it being your responsibility to shield them from how the industry actually is, because that's not your
Right.
responsibility.
No, I get that. It's just, it's odd.
And it
for
really
me.
is like that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It really is like that.
But it's
out
still
there.
odd. It's odd for me, right? As
I
a
get it.
father, as
Yeah,
a dad.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Right.
I feel like you have that unique perspective that I
Yeah.
don't on this, because not only are you in that unique space that you've worked all this time to move that needle 1% at a time,
Yeah.
but you're also a dad.
Yeah, I think Peyton Riley and I talked about it for a minute, and I think it was her, it might have been one of the other younger artists, but they basically said, we were drawn to what you do for a reason. And we're fans of you. We look up to you for who you are.
Yeah.
So don't change who you are because I don't remember if it was her or not, but it was somebody, one of those groups. Might have been somebody's mom. Might have been Peyton Howie's mom or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's when it's weird. And I think that's my calling, to be honest with you. I definitely think I was born to be on stage. Don't get me wrong. I mean, that's my happy place. I'm comfortable there. I command the stage. You know, I don't want to be cocky either, but I'm pretty goddamn good when I'm up there in front of a crowd, right? Just naturally. Like, it's not something I have to try to do to engage the crowd. It just naturally happens. But I think that maybe my calling is more to give opportunities to folks that normally wouldn't have the opportunities.
I certainly appreciate shit.
You know, well, I think the only reason that you would not deserve to be up there in anybody's eyes that would be a valid reason is that you don't have any of your own released original music.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's a valid thing, right? If a podcast,
it's the last little cog.
If a podcast doesn't want to have you on because there's nothing to point to, right? Like, we're going to have you on this podcast, and where are we going to point? What are we going to point people to? Like, where are they going to go fucking hear your music? Where are they going to go see you, right? There's nothing there right now. So if somebody has that argument, then okay, I can, like, that's cool. I get it, right? I understand that. Any other argument than that about you not belonging on that fucking stage is just, there's nothing that anyone else can say that would give me a reasonable argument on why you shouldn't be on that stage. And I don't even think the first one's a good one, right? But I understand why it would be perceived that way, right?
Sense, yeah.
But dude, listen, man, you belong right where we're at. Like, the only difference between you and me is that I've been doing this a lot fucking longer than you have, and I've have more connections than what you have. That's it. That's the difference. That's the difference between me and you, right? The difference between me and Cody Jinks is that he had more relationships in the right places than I do. That's the difference. It's not because if we played a show together on the same stage that we don't belong on the same stage. I'll go toe-to-toe with that motherfucker. I'll go toe-to-toe with any artist out there for my show. Any artist. I will put my show against any artist out there. I will. That's how just confident I am in what I do.
Yeah. Dude,
the only difference between me and those other people is that, like you said, I haven't had the opportunity, you know, where opportunity and preparation meet.
Yeah.
I haven't had that yet. Right. And I may never have it. It may never happen. But I'll be goddamn if somebody's going to tell me I don't belong somewhere. Yep. Right. Yep. You don't belong on the stage of Do-Si-Do, or you don't belong. Who the fuck do you think you are? You know who I think you are? I think you're Orion. I think you're Orion. I think you're a great human being. I think that you're one of the most positive people I know. I think you're one of the most intelligent people I know. I think that you're extremely fucking talented. What you've been able to do in the last 6 years to get where you are. There's still some things that I see that you need to work on. 100%, right? But what you've been able to do in the last 6 years with your talent, with your stagecraft, with the way that you interact with the crowd, with your dad jokes. I mean, I know that you may think they're cheesy or they may, but it's kind of become a thing and it works for you, right?
Yeah.
And people remember that. And that's the thing. So I'm proud of you, right?
Thanks.
I'm extremely fucking proud of you. And I love you like a brother. And I think that the world's your fucking oyster and you can do whatever you want to do with it. And I think that your head is on straight about what your expectations are, right? But for anybody to say that you don't belong where we belong or on the same stage or any of that shit is it's wrong, it's a lie, and it's probably from insecurities and jealousy on their end. That's the way I feel about it. So if anybody hears this and you got a problem with that, www.gofuckyourself.com. Like, that's just where I'm at. Like, and that's not just with you, it's with anybody, I do think that there's certain situations that you're not ready for, just like any other artist, just like myself.
Yeah.
If they fucking call me tomorrow and said, hey, you're going to headline Cynthia Woods Mitchell Pavilion.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh, what?
I'm not ready for that.
Yeah. Yep.
Now, if you're going to tell me there's going to be 15,000 people there that are ready to see me play, right? Oh, I'm ready for that. I'm ready. Performance-wise, I'm ready. But if you give me a show tomorrow at Cynthia Woods Mitchell Pavilion, I'm going to sell fucking 250 tickets.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not ready. Then that's why I don't belong there. Right? I mean, I may belong there as an opener, but I don't belong there as a headliner. Do-si-do, I belong there as a fucking headliner because I sell tickets when I play there. Yeah. Same thing at other places, So that's the difference, man. You're there, dude. You're there. You're right there on the you're great. Vocals are good. You're never off key.
Thanks, bro.
Some of your songs are I look at as kind of hokey, right?
Yeah, it's the first, the first 20 or 30
right.
that we're throwing out.
But then
there,
some of your songs, I'm like, God damn, that's good. But dude, guess what? Some of my songs I look at as that's kind of fucking hokey. You know what I mean? That's just what we are. When you write the way you're supposed to write, you're just gonna write some shitty shit.
Well, the part that's promising, man, was we grew up in that era in the 90s where I listened to a lot of alternative, but I listened to a lot of fucking country in the 90s, right?
Same here.
Which meant you had to go buy that fucking CD or that tape, right? From Hastings or wherever it was that you had to, wherever you bought it from. And you had to listen to all the shit that was on it. And there were a few hits, you know what I mean, that made it to the radio, but there were a couple other songs on there that were like, God, I gotta suffer through this shit. And for me, it's not that I want to shit on any other artists or anything like that, or say that all of my shit's infallible. It's like, man, some of my songs that are my least favorite songs have surprised the shit out of me because they tend to touch more people than the songs that I think are the ones that are gonna do something. You know what I mean? Like, and I think me and most of the artists that I know are of the same opinion. Like, hey man, these 3 or 4 songs are like, we're going to do something with these, you know what I mean? But it's those other 5 or 6 songs that I play all the time that people are like, man, that one really means something to me. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah. I don't remember who said it. I was like an interviewer. It might have been an artist I was talking to personally. I don't remember. It's hard to keep that track going.
Yeah.
I don't remember if I saw them on,
I get it, man. Yeah.
On Joe Rogan or if I was actually talking to them in the green room. Right.
That's cool.
I don't know. And so, but somebody said,
that's pretty fucking sweet.
Somebody said something along the lines of, it's your song when you're writing it, and it's your song when you're recording it. But as soon as you play that song live, and as soon as you release that to the public, it's no longer your song; it's their song. Your opinion of that song no longer matters. And so that that's the kind of way I look at it. I know some people tell me that Fill Me Up is the best song they've ever heard in their entire life. And I have some people tell me they can't stand that fucking song. And then I have some people tell me that Ride With Me is just a wonderfully written song. And then some people are like, it's too poppy. So it's like music is subjective. So as artists, all we can do is really we can write it, we can record it. and we can release it. And then whatever happens after that, and when I say release it, I'm meaning both, whether we release it to the live audience via a performance or whether we release it, on to the internet via Spotify or whatever. Yeah, man, that's what I'm talking about.
It blows my mind, dude. It blows my mind.
Did that make sense? Did what I say make sense? It probably comes off of a fucking high rant, but it's like
no, it blows my mind that's it, and you're right. That's what it's all about too, because it's those moments are really cool whenever it catches me off guard. Because I mean, I don't mean to say like I don't take the music seriously or anything, but it like for me, I feel like where my originals are concerned, I know that sometimes I'm taking a chance at a show where it's like I could just play a cover here that more people know and I could get a better response to it, but I'm going to play this original anyway because I wrote this and I'm writing, 9.5 songs out of 10 that I write are autobiographical. So it's not only that you're getting a piece of my life with it too. So it means something to me. So when it lands coming back the other way, man, it's like,
Yeah, I remember those days back when I was playing, when I would be doing like a 3-hour cover show. And I mean, I still do some of those from time to time, but like I would be doing a 3-hour cover show and I would play like With or Without You, which is, I think, one of my best covers. I'd play that and the crowd would like freak the fuck out. And then I'm like, okay, I have them, right? I got them in my hand. And then I would play something like Peaks and Valleys right after that. Or Fill Me Up, right? One of my more intense songs, right? And sometimes the fucking feedback would be better than the With or Without You cover I just did. And I remember like feeding off that. And those are the victories that you have to stack up in your brain, right? Yeah. Those are what make, I know that you have a different way of looking at things because of your past with your job and everything. Yeah, dude. And now
it's like everything's just
you just feel like you're the luckiest thing in the world. Yeah, dude. But what will end up happening if you continue down this thing, the roadblocks and the walls will build up. And you're going to have a lot of those same feelings that you used to have in your corporate job. And it's going to have to figure out how to navigate those, right? And so it's going to happen. There's no way it's not going to happen unless you're just gifted with a fucking $10 million contract and then you're selling out fucking arenas the next day, right?
Yeah.
But even that, you're going to have its own problems because now you're in the machine and,
What's this kid's name? Oliver? What? He already stole the O name.
Yeah.
God dang it.
Yeah.
I was going to have Anthony. That going.
He's got 2 first names.
Oliver Anthony. I got 3 last names, so whatever.
Yeah. What's your real name?
Orion Wagner Burroughs.
So Orion is your real name?
Yeah.
Orion Wagner Burroughs. Are you only child?
Nope.
Oh, how many?
I'm the baby.
Oh, yeah? How many?
Obviously.
How many?
2.
2. Okay.
Older brother.
That's perfect. 2's perfect.
Okay.
Like 1 is like, they're probably going to grow up to be a fucking
I've been talking shithead. 5.
Yeah. Really. You know what I mean? Like 1, it's like they're probably going to be a shithead.
Yeah.
3, the little one's gonna be a fucking dick, right? He's gonna be an asshole, and the middle one is gonna fucking hate life for the majority of his life because how shitty he was fucking treated because he's not the first and he's not the fucking baby. Yeah. And guess who's a middle child? This. And middle child syndrome is real, and it's bad. And I suffered from it for a long fucking time. Yeah. And I don't think enough conversation is brought up around PTSD for middle children. And I think I need to start a middle child nonprofit.
Oh, nonprofit? Okay.
To just help middle children ease their suffering and pain.
What about left-handed people?
Well, hey, you know who got double fucked?
Are you left-handed?
I am left-handed.
I did not know that. I don't know why I didn't. Actually, I did know that. I did know that. Yeah, I did know that.
I play guitar left-handed and I throw left-handed, but I do pretty much everything. I play guitar right-handed and I throw and bat right-handed, but I do pretty much everything else left-handed. I kick left-handed, I shoot left-handed, I eat left-handed. But yeah, I just play guitar and I throw right-handed. It's weird. I'm all fucked up. It's that middle child bullshit, dude. I'm telling you, man. You know how fucked up I am? My older brother is left-handed at everything. And my younger brother is right-handed at everything. And I'm all fucked up in the middle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I probably got the littlest dick out of both of them, too. I bet I do. I bet my dick... I bet my dick is at least 6 inches smaller than my brother's.
Bro, that
Fucking assholes. Fuck my brothers. Now that we're talking about it.
I don't know if that's possible. If it is, I'm so sorry for you. Oh, I'm so sorry for you.
That's fucking funny. Goddamn. See, this podcast is gonna be a hit, dude.
Yeah.
Shit like that. That's a jewel
Are you
right
kidding
there.
me?
That is a fucking jewel.
Didn't have that problem.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm proud of what I got.
That's the most important
Yeah,
part. That's
I'm
the
not-
most important part.
I'm not scared of it. I've whipped it out quite a few times in
Listen.
public.
There's an important conversation to be had here, and I feel like we're both in places and in a place in our life where we can have a very important conversation. Where, like, man, I was married before, right? And there were
Me too, twice.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You told me about it.
2 times, bro.
But man, there were points in time in that marriage, you know, where there would be a month, 2 months that would go by without any, you know, out any intimacy. Not, you know, forget sex, just without any intimacy, that kind of thing. And it almost seemed like it would snowball from there. You know what I mean? To a point of, I felt like almost for a long time, like it was just, I was dealt a bad hand and I wasn't good at this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I just wasn't going to be. And then hopping out to the side of things where, like, I'm happy with my life now. You know what I mean? It's like, who the fuck is this guy? You know what I mean? Like, I never thought this.
Yeah,
was...
but you also want to, fuck. You want to try harder when, like, when you're getting like positive feedback.
Well, that's true. Yeah,
You know what I mean?
No, I guess that's exactly what I'm saying. I guess I got off a little on a tangent there, but yeah, you're exactly right, man. Whenever it's somebody who's into you and it's not all the stressors of the normal day and that kind of thing coming back the other way, I do certainly agree, man. Like
But goddamn, if you're fucking sitting there and you're giving it all you got and they're just a dead fish, you're gonna think you're a fuck.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? That's the way it works.
Yeah.
But if you got, you know, somebody that is just into you and loves you and looks at you and is into the moment, you know, yeah, fuck yeah. That's why those.
Well, I think it matters too, being the person, like being able to be the person that's worthy of that those kind of feelings coming back the other way. You know,
Well, that's
what I
why
mean?
porn stars can go like an hour because those girls are really into that shit.
Yeah, that's true.
Like the more you're into it,
At least they seem to be, from how they sound. They just seem to be really.
we talked a lot about sex in this podcast too. Not with you, but Philip and I think we talked a lot about it. Yeah, it's I mean, fuck, that's just a performance thing.
Yeah, I would agree. So, man, I guess the whole reason I was bringing it up in the first place is I feel like it came from a place of a feeling of kind of hopelessness in that, you know, that place that I was. It was like, this is just how things are.
Right.
This is just how it is. And
But what we're also saying is that playing a show for a shitty fucking crowd is exactly the same as having sex with a shitty lay.
yeah,
Think about it. Think about it. Everything about it works. Everything about it works.
Well, you got to understand.
Like clap for me in bed, motherfucker. Clap for me.
For who I am, like, you got to understand, dog. There could be me and the bar staff, and I'm still going to have a good time.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just there's no train is stopping me
Well, I'm gonna
on
give you-
having a good time.
Well, my issue is when you play a festival and there's 2,000 people out there or 1,000 people or whatever, and they're all fucking into what you're doing, right? And then the next day you go play at the Rustic and there's 500 people there and they give 0 fucks about what you're doing. 0. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about a dead bar. I'm talking about a shitty crowd. There's two different, you know. To me, it's why I don't play a lot of shows inside the loop, because I feel that the venues, the people inside the loop just do not fucking care, and the people out in the suburbs and out in the rural areas, I think they give a shit. And so, I don't know, man. Like the Rustic, I don't want to talk shit about them because it's a cool venue and it's, you know, they take care of everybody, but it's the crowd. It's not the venue. It's the crowd. I mean, those fucking little preppy fucks don't give a shit.
Well, but dude, I feel like for I guess the reason I am who I am, or just the way that it works out so well for me at this point, is it's like, oh, okay, you don't want to pay attention. I'm gonna get somebody to pay attention.
Well, you can't do that. Have you played
Some
the
of you are gonna
Rustic?
play it. Yeah.
Which
a lot.
Have you played the Post Oak one?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
Excuse me.
there's no getting their attention, bro. There is no getting their attention. There is. Not to be cocky, but I would say that when it comes to crowd interaction and getting the crowd to be a part of the show, I'm probably one of the best that's in the area. You know what I mean? I think so.
Yeah, I don't really know.
Like crowd work and just the way that I interact with the crowd.
Yeah, man, I don't know who to put up. Yeah.
So, and if there's somebody better, then tell me who they are. That's cool. I'm not saying I'm the best. I'm just saying that I'm pretty fucking good at it.
No, the perspective I'm looking at is kind of like Kojo as an example, right? So 2017, they sold out NRG at Rodeo, right? They sold that thing out, right?
Yeah.
And I was, a couple of guys from the band were kind of telling me this story together at the first time, and I didn't really know where that was going. It was like, yeah, that's cool. I remember it, dude. I remember it.
Yeah.
I was there. I was in the crowd. Like, I remember how cool that situation was. And they're like, yeah. But what you don't remember was when we loaded out from there, we went to a bar that was a 300 cap room and played a 300 cap room the next night.
Yeah.
And then the next night after that went and played 1,000 cap room. Like, that's how, now all this time later, things have started to go a little bit better, but like that one pop wasn't a signal of tomorrow everything's going to be that
Yeah,
pop.
for sure.
You know what I mean? And for me, it was like every time I try to start to get to the point where I do think I'm owed a little bit, it's like, listen, dude, you don't even have anything released yet. Like, remember where you're at. Remember where you're at. You know what I mean?
Oh, if you want the most humbling thing you can do, if you think you're there, right? Because that's happened to me a couple times where I'm like, fuck, dude, like I can sell 1,000 tickets. You know what I mean? I mean, I can if I really try in certain spots, but like I can sell 1,000 fucking tickets. And then I'll go on Facebook Live, bro. And it's like, I'm fucking, like, I got 13,000 followers and I've got 3 of them watching me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then you go on like Chris Stapleton's live and it's like 10,000 people watching him. You know
like
what I mean?
all the reactions are going too fast.
So really see
what's going on.
What I've decided to do is I go live a lot. And one of the reasons I decided to go live a lot is to humble me a bit. Yeah, and it really does. It really humbles me a bit. And so I think that we all have to find things that humble us. But I can tell you one thing. I can tell you this much. One of the least humble things you can tell someone is to be humble. I fucking hate that shit. I hate it. Especially from other fucking artists. I hate it. I can tell you this.
What about from people who aren't artists?
Same. But I'll tell you what, I'll listen to it from non-artists before I listen to it from artists, and this is why. Our job is to get up in front of a crowd and be vulnerable with them and entertain them and make them have a good time. You're on a stage in front of fucking people that are there to see you play your show. Right?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. There's nothing humble about that. It's a little bit narcissistic. It's a little bit, you gotta be a little cocky. You gotta have a little bit of a screw loose if you're gonna do it and you're gonna do it well, right? So that's why the cocky artists are always the one. When I say cocky, that's one reason why they're the ones that fucking blow up. Like, I'm not there playing it safe, bro. When I'm on stage, I'm not gonna be humble.
Well, dude, you better be up there believing in what you do.
Absolutely. Now, I will be humble to my girlfriend, and I will be humble to my kids, and I'll be humble to a judge, and I'll be humble to
As legally necessary.
to like police officers and to firefighters and to teachers and to people that and after the show, when I get off the show, I will be humble and I will go and I will talk to every single person that's at that venue. I mean, you've seen it. That's just what I do. But when I'm on that fucking stage, you can take the fucking humble word and shove it smooth up your ass. There's nothing humble about what we do.
Yeah, dude.
Nothing.
Yep.
And when an artist
Nobody's going to remember you for who you cowered to.
Yeah. Right, absolutely. That's perfect. But when another artist comes up and tells me to be humble, the first thing I think of, stay where you're at, bro. Enjoy your station in this industry because you're not going to get any further than where you are. You know, that's just the way I think about it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so be humble. Hey, Orion, be fucking humble. What time is it?
I don't know what time is it.
Dude, we've been rolling for 2 hours and 43 minutes. We need to...
Doesn't even feel like that.
Yeah, we should probably cut this thing off and do it again some other time.
Word up.
Yeah, have fun.
I'm good for that. Yeah, it's a really good time, man. I had a really good time talking to you.
So I know you don't have a website.
Not yet.
No. So you don't have a website. You don't have Twitter. You don't have TikTok.
Mhm.
You don't have...
I got Facebook, Instagram right now. We're working on, so me and Wes Nixon and Michael Bowen started a band called The Big Pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the big project right now. We played 4 full band shows together. Last ones went really well together. So we've been working on practicing together for a little bit. Got some stuff booked for the fall, or in the works for the fall. Gonna try to roll that thing out, get some stuff recorded, and actually get some things going on.
Okay. Shelve all that.
Yeah.
Do all that. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you this. Take this from somebody who knows what they're talking about. With your personality, okay, you need to be out there on the social media stuff. You need to be doing YouTube shorts. You need to be doing TikToks. You need to be doing Instagrams, Reels. You need to be doing Facebook Reels. The thing is, you can make one video on your phone. I can show you how to do it. You can put captions on it very fucking easily. And you need to start getting your person, because I can say let me tell you this. If there's anything I know about this industry, other than the Oliver Anthonys of the fucking world, people are not going to come out and buy tickets to your show because of your music. They're not. They're going to come out and buy tickets to your show because they are a fan when you're starting out, because they're a fan of who Orion is. You got to start getting your personality out there in other ways that doesn't have a guitar around your neck. And I don't know if you've noticed, but you've seen me doing that a lot lately.
Yeah.
I'm doing a lot of content that has nothing to do with my music. Because here's the deal. When I sold out Do-Si-Do in 2020, 450 tickets, none of those people ever heard my music. They were all fucking fans of Jeff Canada, right? And now I'm putting out more music, and now people are finding me because of my music, and that'll start to happen. But you've got to build this core group of fans, and the only way to do that is to hang out with them, to talk to them, to let them know who you are as a person.
Yeah.
So you need to be doing these podcasts like this. Is cool. I'm gonna get you once I get everything edited, I'm gonna get you the raw file for it.
Cool.
So you can take it and cut snippets out and do that. And I can show you a lot, dude.
There's gonna be some good snippets out of
But
this shit.
you need to seriously start with just because your personality, right? There's a lot of people that don't have your personality or our personality,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Yep.
And those guys, that's all they have is their music. That's it. That's all they got. They have their music and that's it. Well, we have more than that. And you need to start putting that out there for the world to see. That's my one piece of a constructive criticism for you.
Thanks, dude.
Is I think you should really start putting yourself out there. You know, when you're having one of these fucking trips, pull your fucking phone out and just say a few words into the camera. And then don't do anything with it. And then go back the next day and look at it and be like, oh, is that funny or is that not funny? Or is that cool? Is that not cool? And just start putting small pieces of who you are as a person out on the internet. I'm telling you, you'll be amazed at the feedback you'll get from that.
Word.
So do it.
I really appreciate that, man.
Yeah. That's it. That's all I got. So I'm out of here. Guys, love you, bro.
Yeah, man. I love you too. Thanks for having
I'm
me.
proud
I
of
really
you.
Appreciate it, dude.
I'm proud of you. Keep doing what you're doing.
I will.
To the rest of y'all.
Proud of you too, man.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah, dude. I'm really proud of what you're doing.
Oh,
Yeah.
thanks, man.
Doing big shit, man.
I'm doing some shit.
Yeah, I like watching what you're doing, man.
I don't know if it's big shit or not, but it's something. But hey, until then, don't be a butthole. I think that's gonna be my tag.
Don't be a butthole.
Don't be a butthole.
I like it.
This is Jeff Canada. Don't be a butthole. Peace.